South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Isn't it about time for somebody's favorite radio program?
Yeah. 97.3 ESPN presents The Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
When I'm driving, I got a guy on the radio who talks to me. I can't see him, but he talks to me.
Now, live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill again on a Thursday edition of the Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN. We are still counting down the days the Eagles training camp, although one ESPN analyst that seems to have continued to want to throw the Eagles under the bus. I'll explain that shortly. Phillies coming out of the All-Star break. What can we expect from the second half of the season? Coming up on today's show. Plus, some news that came out shortly ago about 76ers future. I think we need to have a conversation. I don't know how legitimate the report is. We'll get to that as well coming up. Also, boxing returns to Atlantic City next Friday night, 97th in the house at Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City with boxing promotion. Coming up on the show, with me for the conversation, 609-403-0973, your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank, Seattle City. Matt Gelb from the Athletic, Phillies beat writer, coming up at 3 o'clock to get more into the Phillies coming out of the second half. We'll get a deeper perspective on what can we expect for the Eagles and their offense going into training camp from Klemic, former NFL wide receiver and regional high school graduate. Football is more powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. InsideTheBirds.com writer Andrew DiCecco joined us for his weekly divisional previews this week. We have NFC West. Nuggets will come as well at the 4 o'clock hour. I'm sure Nick will have something to say about the many news topics running around the news cycle today, including this ESPN top 100 athletes list. Apparently, that's caused a lot of people with feathers to be ruffled. And then I mentioned boxing in Atlantic City, the second boxing showcase by Boxing Inside Promotions by Goldberg. There we're going to be up around 5:25 to get more into the fight card, which is next Friday night at Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. So a lot to get to. Let's get started right here on the free ESPN. And I got to tell you guys, the closer we actually get to training camp, the more I am desiring it to get here faster and sooner. And I'm becoming less and less patient with waiting because it's starting to become very clear to me that the reason why someone like myself came to sports talk radio was one of the reasons was aside from the fact I love sports, I'm passionate about it, is I wanted to escape some of the riffraff of other parts of this business. There's a lot of flip-flopping, two-faced nature, and there's a lot of lacking of nuance in many areas of media. And the closer we get to the season, the more I realize that what I thought was not in sports media is probably as much, if not more, in sports media than in any other form of media. The way the media, the national media, keeps portraying Jalen Hurts is starting to make me wonder if these guys actually have any clue what they're saying anymore. If they understand that what comes out of their mouth is even something that should add up, because everything we know from people who cover the Eagles, we talk to Jeff Mosher and Adam Kaplan every week here on 97.3 ESPN. We've heard from tons of people from, on different podcasts, the Chris Longs and the Brian Baldingers and Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey, right? We've heard on my show Game Night with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN, usually Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock, from people like Rob Motti, for example. When I had the chance to speak to a lot of people because of this platform, this job, we have the opportunity to talk to and hear from a lot of different people. Everyone says the same thing, that this Eagles offense will be so much better than last year because of the change of the coaching. But yet we still have all these people wanting to blame Jalen Hurts for last year's problems, when Jalen had more passing touchdowns than 2022, more rushing touchdowns than 2022, the year that he was an MVP finalist. The Eagles were top 10 in the NFL in points scored and scoring per game last year. The Eagles statistically actually did not have a bad year offensively. Was it as explosive and as great as the year before? Of course not. But there is this perception that has grown, and it feels like it's only being propagated by either national media people who just like to give hot takes, or regional media people who just, maybe they hate Jalen Hurts, right? And when I heard Bart Scott say this morning, it made me legitimately, I don't want to say angry, because I don't get angry about sports opinions, but I do get annoyed when people talk foolishly and say trash like this comment from Bart Scott this morning on Get Up.
I think he saves and restores Jalen Hurts' reputation, because I think it took a hit, because we see without Shane Steichen that maybe he struggles from throwing within the pocket, and maybe he's just a system quarterback where the RPO is the best type of system for him to be in. Saquon Barkley gives him ability. You think about what DeAndre Swift was able to do, over 1,000 yards. You can kind of project Saquon Barkley should be one of the most productive pass catching and yards per rush, because he's going to have so much space, because you have to respect A.J. Brown on the outside. You got Devontae Smith-Gardner. He's going to see a lot of light boxes.
Now, I understand the conversation was about Saquon, but the comments he made about Jalen Hurts were uncalled for, and what Bart Scott either purposely is ignoring or is too dense to understand. He's not the only one. There's a lot of people who are in the media who don't understand this. The only reason why Jalen Hurts has a reputation that needs to be repaired or improved, the only reason why Jalen Hurts has to have anything fixed, is because people like Bart Scott said that Jalen Hurts was the reason why the Eagles were losing games last year. It was people like Bart Scott who condemned Jalen Hurts' play last year, created a narrative that Jalen Hurts has a bad reputation. They created a narrative that Jalen Hurts can only run an RPO. They created this narrative, and then they themselves say, well, now Saquon's going to come in and fix that reputation, when it was people like Bart Scott and shows like Get Up, First Take, Undisputed on FS1, was it Speak for Yourself is the other show on FS1. It's shows like that created this narrative in the first place. When the Eagles were 10-1, Jalen Hurts was considered a front runner for MVP. I know it's hard to remember that, but when the Eagles started the year with that amazing record and coming out of that big overtime win versus the Buffalo Bills in the nasty weather, and Hurts led them to that score. When Jalen Hurts had a 67% completion percentage, when his quarterback rating was 94.9, when he had a total of 29 touchdowns through the first 11 games. How was his reputation then? How was his image then? Was he a system quarterback then? Was he just a byproduct of Shane Steichen then? Then the Eagles go on that losing streak where everything seemed to go wrong. Now, did Jalen Hurts struggle during that stretch? He did. So did the rest of the team. But at the end of the day, the Eagles should have won more than just one game down that stretch of games. Remember, the Eagles defense allowed 42 points to the 49ers, 35 points to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, if you want to point to Hurts for the Dallas and the Seattle games and be like, dude, you should have been better, you could have been better, you could do that. And I'm totally fine with that. But when the Eagles ended last season, it was not because Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback. Jalen Hurts is not at fault for the defense failing to do their job. When Brandon Graham was asked what went wrong last year, he didn't name Jalen Hurts at all.
I didn't think we had all the right coaches in the proper spots that could help us, whatever Decide's message was, because it was just a bunch of miscommunication. That's all. That's what I would just say. It was just miscommunication that I know Howie regretted after the season.
Sounds like to me that we're blaming the coaches here. And what did they do? They fired all the coaches. They cleared house of the coaching staff. That's interesting. But why are we blaming Hurts? Why is the national media, like Bart Scott, throwing Jalen Hurts under the bus? You know, Jason Kelsey on his podcast, he talked about how the Eagles offense will be better this year, and listen to how he verbalizes why Kellen Moore will be better for Philadelphia than last year's coaching staff.
He's done a little bit of everything. You know, obviously he comes from Boise, and it's
it was wacky back then, man. It was
damn
I
sure
want
was.
to say wacky. It was a different offense though, and they
did a lot of stuff. I mean, it was creative. That's what
There
it
it
comes
is.
down to.
There
And I
it
think there was a lot of people, even looking back ourselves, that realized that we could have potentially been a little bit more creative, I guess, offensively. And I think Kellen will bring a lot of that.
Sounds like we're blaming the coach again. I didn't hear again, no blaming of Jalen Hurts by the players. We're pointing to the coaching. We're pointing to the game plan. We're pointing to the offensive strategy. That's what we're pointing to. How about Lane Johnson? What was the problem last year, Lane?
I think we had trouble making in-game adjustments. You know, some blitz packages, we had a hard time, especially in that Tampa Bay game. I think when you really go and watch that, that was kind of the, last two raw for us, but it just seemed ugly. I feel like the effort was never a problem, but we were just very frustrated as to why things weren't rolling our way. So that's the best way I could to describe it, but it felt like the practice, the effort was never the question.
In-game adjustments. Sounds like a coaching problem. So you have three former Eagles all on different platforms, right? Lane Johnson was on Colin Cowherd's show, and Brandon Graham jumped on ESPN radio, and Jason Kelsey's on his New Heights podcast. They all blame the coaches. So why are the national media the ones pointing to Hurts as the problem? They're pointing to Hurts as the problem because at the end of the day, let's be honest, not everyone is going to give you an honest assessment of the Eagles. Not everyone is going to give you a realistic assessment of the quarterback. You know, for as much as we praise Patrick Mahomes, and he is clearly the best quarterback in the NFL, nobody is questioning that. But we've never seen Patrick Mahomes in any of the offense by Andy Reid. How do I know he's not a system quarterback? Tua has looked his best in Miami with Mike McDaniels. Couldn't he be a system quarterback? Again, look around the NFL. Matthew Stafford couldn't win a playoff game in Detroit. Wins a Super Bowl with the Rams. So did Sean McVay save his reputation, Matthew Stafford? Did Cooper Kupp and that team redeem Matthew Stafford's reputation? We don't talk about Stafford like that, do we? Is Brock Purdy a system quarterback? Is he a byproduct of being in the Kyle Shanahan system? Drew Brees had the best year of his career with Sean Payton, Hall of Fame future, right? Was he not a byproduct of the system that he was in? See, these descriptions have negative connotations to them. These descriptions, the way these things are verbalized, have a negative lean to them. Jalen Hurts does not need his reputation saved by Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts is as much of a system quarterback as almost any other quarterback in the NFL. Because at the end of the day, you are only as good as the people who are putting you in a position to be successful. It was ESPN's Jeremy Fowler who made the ESPN Plus list of the top quarterbacks, who himself said that NFL scouts, execs, and evaluators said to him, well, Jalen Hurts was not put in a good position by Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni, the Eagles offense, didn't put him in a position to be successful last year. So again, why are we throwing Hurts under the bus? And if the answer is, well, the quarterback always is the first person to blame, that is a stale answer. Because what you're basically saying to me, Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN on a Thursday afternoon, what you're telling me is that, well, we've always done it this way, and there's no better way to evaluate the Eagles or football than to blame the quarterback. But yet teams win championships, not individuals. Dan Marino never got back to a Super Bowl after his second year in the NFL. John Elway only won those 2 rings when he had Hall of Fame talent around him, like Shannon Sharp and Terrell Davis, and a great offensive line and a very talented defense. Peyton Manning won his second championship with a noodle arm because Von Miller and the Broncos defense carried them to that championship. I don't hear anyone speaking about Marino and Elway and Manning like this. So why do we do it to Jalen Hurts? And I think the answer is, frankly, laziness. I think there are some people who are sports talkers, analysts, evaluators, who are lazy in their evaluation. For example, I don't understand why in 2024, every sport seems to be changing their statistical models, but yet we still haven't figured out how we can remove wide receiver drops from a quarterback's completion percentage. That's like blaming a hitter for being walked or hit by the pitch for his batting average. I never understood that. If the ball is thrown to a receiver, he fumbles the ball and it lands in someone else's hands and it counts as interception. Why is the quarterback blamed for that? Why isn't the receiver blamed for that? Laziness. I think a lot of this evaluation questions, which we can question Jalen Hurts. We can look at Hurts and say, hey, as I said, the Seattle game, he explicitly made mistakes in that game. Okay. That is a game that I look at and I say, if you want to blame Hurts, go to that game, right? If you want to look at where Hurts has a flaw, you also can blame him. You could blame him playing hurt when he probably should have taken a week or two off. This zeal and desire some of these guys have to play hurt. Like, dude, you might not be helping your team. You might be hurting your team. You want to blame Hurts for those things, we could do that conversation. But to say Saquon is going to save his reputation and call Hurts a system quarterback, I would like to see that same energy applied to other quarterbacks as it's given to Hurts. It's almost like people don't want to admit that Hurts is better than how they evaluated coming out of college. It's like everyone is still holding on to that 2020 draft. It's as if everyone still wants to look at him as a second-round pick and not accept that he is among the top third, I should say, of quarterbacks in the league. If you want to say he's top 5, like Rob Motti said yesterday here on 97.3 ESPN, whether you want to say he's top 10, as Adam Kaplan said earlier this week on 97.3 ESPN, whatever tier you want to put him in, I don't care. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're wrong if you want to rate him higher or lower. But to refer to him in such negative terminology as Bart Scott did, it's disingenuous. It's intellectually dishonest. Because at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts was the 5th quarterback picked in the 2020 NFL draft. The number 1 quarterback, no one disagrees he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, Joe Burrow, but he can't stay healthy. So the question with him is always going to be, can he stay healthy? But we don't treat Joe Burrow like he is a lesser player because he has had knee injury, wrist injury, hand injury. He's had shoulder problem. He's had all these injuries. We don't say Joe Burrow is damaged goods. I don't believe in him. No, we say, look, when Joe Burrow is healthy, he's really good. Tua did not look like he could meet his potential until he got Mike McDaniel on that sideline. We didn't say, well, Tua's only good because of Mike McDaniel. Our question coming in the last year was, will Tua stay healthy? And when Tua proved he could stay healthy, it was like, all right, he has shown us that he is able to do this. Now we want to see more of it. That's all we said. Justin Herbert. We blamed Brandon Staley for a lot of the foibles of the Chargers franchise and injuries that were out of Herbert's control. Now he's got Harbaugh. So the narrative is now we can really see what Justin Herbert can be now that he has a better coach. Jordan Love, the dude didn't have a chance to show anything at first because he had Aaron Rodgers in front of him. And you got to say Matt LaFleur is one of the better coaches in this league. If you were to rank the top 5 coaches in the NFL, Green Bay's LaFleur is probably in that 5 somewhere, in whatever order you want to make it. So you could say, well, Jordan Love is benefiting from having one of the best coaches and offensive minds in the league on his sideline. But no one's sitting here saying Jordan Love is a system quarterback. So why do we say these things, these negative connotations about Jalen Hurts? You guys can tell me what you think coming up on the other side. 609-403-0973. That is the text board. Cole from LBI. Jeff from Ocean City. Chuck from Marmora. Get to all your messages and more coming up. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget you DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, which is free thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Keeping the fans entertained and happy.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Beat the heat this month at Matt Blatt Kia. During our sale, Abrasion. Take $7,500 off MSRP or pay 0% for 48 months and make no payments for 90 days on every clearly marked EV in stock. Plus, with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy, you can drive with peace of mind. Have a job clearing $450 per week? Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today. 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 0%. So if you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, we want to get you released. It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With a booth credit, 24 Nero EV and EV6, 2083 per thousand. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. $7,500 customer cash from Kia America for the purchase or lease of specially tagged 2024 vehicle. Bonus cash must be applied for the purchase or lease and not available for cash. Subject to vehicle availability and dealer participation. EV6 rebates and incentives to dealer expires 8/4/24.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
There are a lot of so-called fast food deals out there. But do any of them have the Wendy's Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, crispy fries, everyone's favorite nugs, and a drink for just $5 like Wendy's Biggie Bag? Nope. And that's why no other deals can be called the Wendy's Biggie Bag. That and a little thing called plagiarism. When the deal is as fresh as the meal, gotta be Wendy's.
Gotta be fresh. Includes choice of JBC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery.
When you want experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence. Fences and decks and outdoor showers made of vinyl, aluminum, and wood. They've been serving you since 1952. You're gonna be the envy of your neighborhood.
Are you building a new home or renovating an existing one? As your exclusive South Jersey Active Yards dealer, we make it easy for contractors and homeowners alike to purchase high-quality fencing, railing, and shower enclosure kits. We have glass railing, cable railing, metal railing, and a mile of vinyl T-railing in stock. With materials delivered right to your home or job site, we make it easy to get the products you need when you need them.
So start planning your project today. Visit DennisvilleFence.com or our newest location at 229 Shore Road in Summers Point. Again, that's 229 Shore Road in Summers Point.
Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence. 1-800-499-FENCE.
Visit DennisvilleFence.com.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Before Team USA was competing on the world's biggest stage, they were competing in backyards. Before they qualified for the Olympic Games, they were qualifying for regionals. Before they were hometown heroes, they were kids with a dream. Watch those dreams become reality during the Olympic and Paralympic Games with Xfinity. Stream every nail-biter, comeback, and record-breaking moment on any device with wall-to-wall Wi-Fi coverage and a reliable connection even when everyone's online. Get the fastest connection to Paris with Xfinity, proud partner of Team USA.
Get ready for the Olympic Games with 300 megabit Xfinity internet for just $30 a month for 12 months with no annual contract and unlimited data included. To learn more, go to Xfinity.com/TeamUSA. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Offer ends 7/25/24. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine &
and more. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card, good for use at the Ravioli House in Wildwood for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
2:31 on the Sports Bash. Got Hennig for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Got text to get to at 609-403-0973 and your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank Seattle. Don't forget, coming up on the show, goes with Matt Gelb from the Athletic coming up at 3 p.m. And talk Eagles in the NFL with Dave Klemic, former NFL wide receiver, at 3:25. As long as football are forward, and DiCecco from InfoFirst.com. Knicks Nuggets as well in the 4 o'clock hour. And then next week, Goldberg from boxing tonight at 5:25. Text board. Let's get to you guys listening out there at 93 ESPN or listening to 93 ESPN mobile app. Wherever you're listening to the show, thank you for tuning in today. Cole from LBI chimes in at 609-403-0973. He says, John Hurts' 8 touchdown interception from the RPO wasn't working for whatever reason. RPO quarterback is not an insult. 31 of 32 quarterbacks in the NFL are QBs. The Eagles say that the word that Hurts isn't a great pocket passer, that Kelsey will not be able to play two-down football without the tush push, he says. Probably a pivotal year for Hurts and Eagles GM High Road. So first of all, I like the fact that Cole and I are going to disagree. But he also said, look, here's some areas where we have common ground. And unlike certain people in the media, Cole from LBI didn't jump in and just come out and try to insult everybody. Have thought they were all stupid. Cole walked up to the table and said, I have some information and I have some points of reference that we can discuss. Because him and I both agree. Almost every quarterback in the NFL is a system quarterback. And he's right. It's not an insult to say that Hurts is an RPO type quarterback or that he's a system quarterback. But the problem, Cole, is that when people on hot debate shows, the hot take format on television or on certain radio shows, those people do mean it as an insult. It's a huge difference between, I know that like Chase Daniel, former Eagles backup quarterback, has a new show now with Diana Rossini where they talk about the NFL and the Athletic. And if Chase Daniel got up and said, I'm going to explain to you why this guy is a byproduct of the system that he was in, it's a huge difference with him and Bart Scott saying it as a negative about Hurts. That's where I'm drawing the line. So intent is as important as much as with anything in this conversation. Now, Cole from LBI is correct in that when you go through that final stretch of games at the end of the season, yes, overall, from week 12 to week 17, Hurts did struggle. But the other side of the coin is look at the games after Hurts initially injured his knee after that Jets game, right? So you go from the Jets game up to the final game, the 3 games after the Jets game, because the Jets game was around the time that he had the knee injury that no one, for whatever reason, will still admit to. 3-game stretch where he was forced to stay in the pocket. He was not allowed to run. He was unable to run, basically. Those 3 games, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception, 75% completion percentage. In those games, the Eagles beat the Dolphins, the Commanders, and the Cowboys. All those games, they scored a minimum of 28 points. So we have empirical evidence, Colin LBI, that Jalen Hurts can operate from the pocket and be a good pocket passer. Now, you said a great pocket passer, so I understand there's a delineation between great and good. But I think Hurts, just to use that as a specific point, he has shown you he can be an efficient pocket passer. And one of the descriptions that has been made about Kellen Moore's offense is that it is an efficient offense. It is an offense that is based on tempo and efficiency. So Hurts is going to be benefited by the Kellen Moore offense because of that. And you don't need to run the run-pass option to be the best version of yourself for Hurts, especially considering that you could argue one of the best RPO quarterbacks in NFL history was Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. That 2017 season when they ran that Eagles offense. And no one is going to confuse Nick Foles for a highly athletic quarterback. And no one is going to act like, even before all the injuries, that Carson Wentz was a more of a running threat than Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, whatever mobile quarterback you want to refer to right now. So being a good RPO quarterback doesn't always line up with being an athletic, high athletic running quarterback. So it's a very strange line we have to draw with these quarterbacks, excuse me, and understanding what they can and can't do. Now, the other part of what you said was very fascinating to me because it was something we had not brought up yet. You mentioned about no Kelsey. You mentioned about how him not being there is going to make a difference. Wink Martindale, the former defensive coordinator for the Ravens and the Giants, he's now the DC/assistant head coach at the University of Michigan. He was a guest on Michael Lombardi's GM Shuffle podcast. And he said this about Jason Kelsey. Take a listen.
Kelsey's a different animal to me. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. We've become friends over the years because he can see it. He studies it. He works at it as a center. With most centers, it's not that way. You can move late, show things late where they can't see it after they've made their checks.
So to me, the Kelsey question is way more than just the tush push or the Philly, whatever you want to call it, right? It's more than just the 4th and inches and Hurts, driving his legs into the pile. It's the fact is, Martindale said, he said, look, as a defensive coordinator, I saw Kelsey know at times what I was going to do. No matter how many changes I made, he knew the checks. He knew the formations. He wasn't going to get tricked. He had the understanding that I knew I was not going to be in a position to beat him down in and down out. So you're losing someone who's way more important, you could argue, than the tush pusher. You're losing a guy who made all the checks for the line. Lane Johnson made the joke in one interview, the interview with Kay Adams, where he said, now I lost my guy who's going to protect me because, Lane said, basically Kelsey calling the plays out basically gave him like an inside angle mentally on what he was facing in terms of the defense. You're losing Kelsey's intelligence more than him physically on the field. And yes, you're right. How will that impact Jalen Hurts? How do the Eagles adjust because of that difference? It is a pivotal year for the Eagles, as you said, because now we're going to see what Hurts is like without Kelsey, which honestly might be more important than anything else that we see this upcoming season. Yes, brotherly shove is the other version of the name for it. Tush push, brotherly shove, and whatever. I'm assuming we're going to see less of it this year either way. Jeff from Ocean City chimes in at 609-403-0973. He says, I'm not sure what the deal is with Jalen Hurts. He had a knee issue, and it seemed like he had a not good attitude at the end of the year. He also didn't support his head coach when he spoke this year. It's a make-or-break season for him. Go Birds. Jeff from Ocean City. Jeff, I will disagree. I think that perception of what Hurts said about the coach last month, I think that was way overblown. Hurts is the kind of guy who he doesn't think like we do, right? Players like Jalen Hurts don't go through their lives thinking, I'm going to speak a certain way to support or not support my head coach. I think he, for better or for worse, was caught off guard by the question about Nick Sirianni and the Eagles offense. And he didn't really have an answer for it. Because in Jalen Hurts' mind, it's like, well, Sirianni's not calling the plays, so why would I even have a comment about what Sirianni's role is with the offense now? So I don't think Hurts didn't support his coach. I think Hurts didn't know how to answer a question that was maybe trying to entrap him into saying something positive or negative about his coach. And he answered it maybe the wrong way, you can say, but I don't think he doesn't support his coach, right? I think that is a perspective and a theory that has been contrived by certain people in the media who want to create drama and controversy. Now, if you want to say Hurts, him not speaking up enough, him not, the stoic attitude he has on the sidelines, his lacking of emotion, his distance, shall we call it, at times from the team when things are not going well. I think that's worthy of having a conversation, but I don't think that is because Hurts has a bad attitude. I think it's just who Hurts is. It's like, I'm finishing up Ulysses Grant's biography, and one of the difficulties that Grant ran into when he was a general and then later as president was that he was so overly stoic and he was so void of emotion that everyone else around him would be freaking out and yelling and being mad. And he would very rarely be emotional about anything with Grant. And it was because of his stoicism that he was able to win the Civil War, because he was not emotionally led from moment to moment during the war. Now, it impacted him negatively when he was president because people thought that Grant didn't care at times when he genuinely did care, but he just wasn't somebody who was emotional in his speaking about stuff. And I think that is part of the problem with Hurts. I think that he is a stoic individual. He is a very buttoned up. He is not a very extroverted in his personality. So that is something he has to work on, because he needs to understand that when his teammates are looking for him to be the leader vocally, not just in action, they need that. And so he's going to have to learn how to do that. The knee issue, as Jeff Ramoche brought up, is a very important one, because the knee issue is an absolute puzzling element for everyone. Whether it's national or local reporters, everyone has said basically the same thing about that. No one understands what was going on with the knee, why it wasn't talked about, why the Eagles were so quiet about it. Nobody understood what was going on with that. So it's the idea that you can have and I'm just using this as an example. You could have a team like the Patriots who reported Tom Brady on the injured list almost every season of his Patriots career, and he still played anyway. You could have just done that with Hurts. You could have just said, well, he has a lower body injury, or you could have made up an injury, for goodness sake. Instead of, if it's actually his knee and maybe instead of his back, who cares? You could have put him down, and then you could at least convey to people, hey, Jalen, he's a little banged up. He's fighting through. He's doing his best. Then people might be like, okay, well, now I understand why he's not running as much, or why he's not running as effectively, or whatever it may be. But instead, we were all left wondering from week to week, why doesn't Hurts look right? What is going on with him? There's rumors there's a knee problem. Hurts and Sirianni won't say anything. And that in itself was annoying, too. I want to squeeze in Chuck from Marmora before I hit the break here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill on a Thursday afternoon. Chuck says, can we talk about how the Eagles are going to change how Saquon is viewed? Will he not benefit from our offensive line and our complementary parts? It's always all relative. That's from Chuck and Marmora. Chuck's 100% right. Bart Scott gets up there and says, well, Saquon is going to have to help change how Hurts is viewed. Whereas you could argue that now Saquon is actually going to benefit just as much, if not more, from being on a team with a good offensive line, instead of the trash they had with the Giants, with a competent winning quarterback, unlike Daniel Jones, with legitimate weapons on the outside, not the oft-injured Sterling Shepard up there in New York, or Darren Waller at the end of his career, right? So Saquon is also going to benefit from being on a great team. So Chuck Moore is right. It's the idea that, where are you walking into this from? Are you looking at Saquon as a guy who is going to help Hurts? Is Hurts going to help him? Or maybe, just maybe, they'll help each other. Keep the messages coming in at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We'll get to Phil from Brigantine and others coming up on the other side here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill on a Thursday afternoon.
We have the Phillies covered.
Swing and a drive, right field, way back, forget it, out of here. Kyle Schwarber hammers one over the right field wall.
Get the best Phillies baseball coverage on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, it's Mike Gill with another amazing opportunity for you at Key Acura of Atlantic City. All 2024 MDXs in stock must go this month, so Rocco has priced them to move. You can drive up the lot with a 2024 MDX all-wheel drive technology package for $49.95 down for just $4.99 a month for 36 months. That's right, $4.99 a month on a low-mileage lease for current Acura owners. There are only a few left, so get there now. Key Acura, Tilt Road at EHT, your small but friendly dealer. See dealer for details.
Hi, I'm Cesar Milan. People are always commenting on how happy and healthy my dogs are. One of the reasons is the food my dogs eat.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a premium freeze-dried raw dog food designed to support your dog's health, happiness, and lifespan.
Their joints are more flexible, their teeth are cleaner, and their coats shinier, and why they seem more youthful even as they age.
I'm veterinarian Dr. Marty Goldstein. I've helped countless dogs thrive with one simple concept. Your dog needs a high-meat diet similar to what their ancestors ate in the wild.
Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend using 50 years of nutritional research and experience, helping dogs make incredible turnarounds. Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of Cod Krispies, their wild-caught, ultra-crunchy cod skin treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Congress is poised to pass a bill to keep AM radio in cars, but time is running out. 82 million Americans risk losing the news, sports, talk, traffic, and vital emergency information they rely on. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to pass this bill now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Here in New Jersey, it's one wow after another, after another, after another. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Beach, boardwalk, music. It's Asbury Park, of course. You've got the legendary Convention Hall, Wonder Bar, and the Stone Pony, the Silver Ball Retro Pinball Arcade, a family favorite, and food ranging from boardwalk classics to barbecue to beer halls to fine dining. Asbury Park is an incredibly diverse Jersey Shore town with rich history and a rock star attitude. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. And look at you, hands perfectly placed on the wheel. Not like the driver to the right of you who's really going after that drum solo. Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Forget the boat trip. Cancel the cookout. It's the Matt Blatt Nissan July Blowout. Get a cooking hot deal. New Nissan Sentra SV, just $159 per month lease. Or Kicks S, just $199 per month lease. And 0 security deposit.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
New Nissan Rogue, 0 down and 0% financing for 36 months. Stuck in a loan or lease? AJ the Trade Man can get you released. So bring it to Matt Blatt Nissan and drive home a new Kicks S, just $199 per month. Or Sentra SV, only $159 per month lease. Both with 0 security deposits, $29.99 due. Matt Blatt Nissan.com. Unapproved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle. Plus tax tag and 589.3. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to mattblattnissan.com for complete details. VIN RL544560 and RY282964. Central lease selling price $23,694. Kick selling price $22,944. Offer ends 8/6/2024.
It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 7.3 ESPN and 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, wrapping up the 2 o'clock hour. Josh Hennig joining Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. I don't want to get to golf and LBI's follow-up because I think there's too much there to shortchange some of the shortchange. But Phil brings up a very important question. Because Phil says, gosh, do any of the Eagles insiders like John McMullins or Jeff Koster and others have any intel on off-season health? Off last year, or we're not as quick, etc. We assume he didn't have a procedure. These guys have a clue, right? These guys have not reported he had a knee procedure or anything explicitly. So either it's all being kept a secret, which is certainly possible. I mean, we've heard weirder stories about secrecy out there. Or you have a situation where the reason why there's no explicit reporting about any health problems is because maybe it wasn't his knee. Maybe it was something else that we don't even know about. And people keep asking, how's Jalen's knee? And you find out that, well, it wasn't his knee. It was a quad injury, or it was a hamstring, or it was a whatever, So we're assuming it's the knee because of the knee brace he wore last year. But for all we know, it could have been other problems as well. So the Eagles insiders, they have basically said that Hurts looks better than he ever has coming into minicamp this last month, and that he looks like he's back to his normal self. Now, what does that mean in the long term? Well, we'll wait and see. We got to figure that out. All right, coming up in the next hour, Matt Gelb from The Athletic joining us on the other side. Phillies heading into the second half of the season. What are some expectations for the Phils as they come out of the All-Star break. I'm Josh Hennig, filling in for Mike Gill. This is 97.3 ESPN.
South Jersey business owners, when Eagles football returns to the airwaves this season, don't miss out. Make sure your business is a part of the Philadelphia Eagles season with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick on 97.3 ESPN. Touchdown! Every week, the NFL's most passionate fan base flocks to 97.3 ESPN radio to listen to their favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Advertising with the Eagles can help your business connect with the consumers you are trying to reach. 97.3 ESPN is the most listened to sports source in all of South Jersey. That's what makes 97.3 ESPN such a powerful station for your business's message. So this Eagles season, don't have your business sitting on the sidelines. Be a part of the Philadelphia Eagles season on 97.3 ESPN. To find out how to become a part of the 2024 Eagles season, go to townsquaresouthjersey.com to request more information.
Hi, I'm Cesar Milan. People are always commenting on how healthy my dogs are. One of the reasons is the food my dogs eat.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a premium freeze-dried raw dog food designed to support your dog's health, happiness, and lifespan. Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of cod Krispies. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Beat the heat this month at Matt Blatt Kia. During our sale, Abrasion. Take $7,500 off MSRP or pay 0% for 48 months and make no payments for 90 days on every clearly marked EV in stock. Plus, with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy, you can drive with peace of mind. Have a job clearing $450 per week? Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today. 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 0%. So if you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, we want to get you released. It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, 24 Nero EV and EV6, 2083 per thousand. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. $7,500 customer cash from Kia America for the purchase or lease of a specially tagged 2024 vehicle. Bonus cash must be applied for the purchase or lease and not available for cash. Subject to vehicle availability and dealer participation. EV6 rebates and incentives to dealer expires 8/4/24.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select the new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code SUPPORT, or text SUPPORT to 511-511 and claim 40% off. roundhouseprovisions.com, code SUPPORT.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
It's universal.
Can I get a root canal instead?
People strongly dislike the process of moving.
Please, anything but moving.
Because let's face it, it's hard. But if you've got to do it, make it as painless as possible.
Moving is a breeze with Clark's Moving and Storage. Use Clark's Moving and Storage for your next local or long-distance move. Visit Clark's Moving and Storage online at clarksmoving.net.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Your luxury BMW experience is closer than you think. Take advantage of exceptional savings at BMW of Atlantic City. Stop in and shop your favorite models, including the new BMW 2 Series, X3, and more. We're sure to have a vehicle that fits your needs. And with Acceleride, purchase your vehicle online and we'll deliver it directly to you. Looking to trade? We'll pay top dollar for your current vehicle. Experience luxury today at BMW of Atlantic City. Closer than you think. In Egg Harbor Township. Shop our complete inventory online at BMWAtlanticCity.com.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him! It's a sack!
Sixers.
Oh, baby!
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
On 97.3 ESPN. We'll check back on the text board in just a bit at 609-403-0973. I love some of the reactions we've been getting from the first hour conversation about the Eagles and Hurts, because it really does renew my faith in humanity. So a lot of you guys out there, for lack of a better term, you're not Neanderthals. Because it really shows me that there's a lot of you out there who understand that there's layers to this stuff, that there's some nuance to these conversations that we have. It's not, all one way or another. It's not all positive or negative when it comes to any of these topics, right? So I'm going to get the more text just a bit at 609-403-0973. Here, don't forget, we got more football coming up a little bit later in the hour with Dave Klemic joining us coming up a little bit later in the hour. But before we get back to the text, I did want to hit on really quick. I see Jack from Cape May Courthouse. I see Luke from Atlantic City. So I want to get to your guys' messages, and also Cole from LBI sending a longer text I want to get to as well. But I don't know how many of you might have heard of or saw this story. So I did want to bring it up here because I know Nick Earnshaw, when he does his Knicks Nuggets a little bit later, he's going to bring it up as well. And that is this story about what is going on with the Sixers' future with their arena in Philadelphia apparently has taken a very interesting turn. So to give you guys kind of like the long and short of it, basically a business outlet that covers business news in the state of New Jersey called ROI New Jersey. So it's not a sports outlet that covered this first. It was a business news outlet that had this story first. And basically, according to them, there have been conversations between the city of Camden and the state of New Jersey with the owners of the Sixers organization, the Harris Blitzer Group. And the article basically states that because they keep running in the roadblocks to get their new arena built in Philadelphia, there have been active conversations between New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, who, because of his background with Goldman Sachs, has a relationship with Josh Harris and David Blitzer, and also the city of Camden, where the Sixers already have their training facilities and their offices there. Basically, the idea being that they would build their new arena that would open in, if it'd be about like 2031, right? They would build it in Camden instead of Philadelphia. And there's also some economical reasons for this. There's the whole, hey, you already have this specific tax bracket that you're in because you're in Camden. They have guys going from New Jersey to Philadelphia. Now you're just moving them across the bay, the Camden. Now, obviously, they'd still be the Philadelphia 76ers. People would still call them the 76ers. But New Jersey basically is trying to get them to come over because obviously it would be a boon for New Jersey to get all of these people now to come into New Jersey to spend their money, then going across the bridge in the Pennsylvania to spend money on games, concessions, etc., etc. And this story is fascinating for two reasons for me. Number one, we have seen a similar situation like this before happen in other sports. The New York Giants and New York Jets don't play in New York. They play in New Jersey. Okay. That's one explicit example we've already seen where a group of franchises say, I don't need to be in the specific city to identify myself regionally with that city, with that fan base. Number two, you have the other side of the coin, which is, hey, if this is going to make more sense for the organization financially, who has already committed Harris and Blitzer to spend their own money and not demand public money to be the main financer of this arena. Now, obviously, they would accept some extra money from Camden or New Jersey if they offered it. But according to reports, Harris and Blitzer's group have already committed over $1 billion to building this arena themselves. But what's keeping it from happening is all of these issues in Philadelphia with where you're putting it. They wanted to put it in one spot. That spot got given to another project. They want to put it somewhere else. People are apprehensive to let it be put in that spot in Center City, right? You know, they're trying to put the arena near public transportation hubs. There's some resistance to that. There's questions about parking. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. And so New Jersey and Camden are basically trying to say, look, why keep worrying about what they're doing in Philadelphia, what you can't do in Philadelphia? Come across the bridge, come to Camden, and do it here. It's a very interesting play because it would make sense to have both your training facility and your offices in the same city as your team. Now, of course, we are seeing this issue happen in other parts of the country as well. For example, for those who didn't hear the story, what's going on with the Kansas City Royals and Kansas City Chiefs, they themselves are trying to build new stadiums. And the state of Missouri has been very apprehensive to not just give them clearance and give them money for it, but they're apprehensive into basically, why do you need to build a new stadium? Why do you need to build a new arena? Whereas across the river, on the other half of Kansas City, which is in Kansas, not in Missouri, the state of Kansas has already passed a resolution, and the governor has signed it basically saying, you come over here, we'll give you the tax breaks. We'll give you some help. We'll give you everything you want to build it, but you got to come across the river and come to this side of Kansas City. So it's very possible that after decades and decades of the Chiefs and Royals playing games in Kansas City, Missouri, they could be playing games now in Kansas City, Kansas. So it's not just the Sixers who are running into this interesting situation. Personally, my opinion, based on reading this story, is that I think it makes sense if you just moved everything to New Jersey. Because if Philadelphia is being that combative and apprehensive about allowing you to build the arena, a new arena in Philadelphia, then be like, look, we're leaving then. We don't need you. We're an NBA franchise. We're worth billions of dollars. And going from Philadelphia to Camden is not the end of the world. It's not like you're saying, hey, we're the Philadelphia 76ers, but we're putting the team a half hour to an hour away from you. No, they're just putting it across the river, just over the bridge. Boom. Now, selfishly, people in New Jersey, they would love this because you don't have to pay that stupid toll going into Philadelphia anymore. You would be able to probably get to the game a lot quicker, depending on exactly where they put in Camden. I haven't seen in this article where in Camden they actually would put it, but I do know for sure that the reason why I bring up 2031 is because their current lease with the Wells Fargo Center is going to expire by then. So definitely an interesting story. Love to get you guys' thoughts on that as well here on the Sports Bash. We can discuss it as well. 609-403-0973. I do want to get to the text that came in though. By the way, I only chuckled because I saw Terry's text. I'll explain why I laughed. I chuckled at that in a moment, so I don't want to give it away. But I'm going to get you guys in order you came in. A lot of you guys texting in during the last segment and during the break. So I promised I would get to Cole from LBI's text because it's a little bit more of a detailed text that I want to get to. He says, as a Jets fan, I totally understand how media coverage can pour it on, and the coverage on Hurts has gone too far. We all still have the question whether you, no matter who you are, if we're being honest, he said, how many drives were extended for the Eagles because of the tush push? How much does losing Jason Kelce affect the calls on the line? That's a huge and big concern for the Eagles, whether you think Hurts is a top-tier quarterback or not. He goes on to say, I think it's a pivotal offseason for Howie Roseman as well because you have a core of young players who are all locked in contractually. If the team doesn't do well this year, who do you move on from and how do you improve? So, two great points there. I want to stick to the Howie Roseman one because the Howie Roseman question is probably the most fascinating question. Howie Roseman upgraded his roster again this offseason. He upgraded the linebackers. He has recalibrated the youth movement on this roster with the draft, with Kelce and Fletcher Cox both retiring this offseason, with Brandon Graham entering the last year of his Eagles career because he's going on his retirement tour season. With all of these moving parts happening right in front of us for the Eagles, Cole asked a valid question. If the Eagles don't win this year, what do you do? Who do you move on from? How do you navigate that? And I think that there are two clear answers. The first clear answer is Nick Sirianni gets fired. No one in their right mind thinks that if this team goes 8-9 or 9-8 and they don't have a deep playoff run, that Sirianni is keeping his job. Sirianni got his lifeline because they fired the coordinators. They overhauled the coaching staff. That was Sirianni's second life. That was his, hey, we're giving you a chance to continue be that, CEO style head coach of this organization, overseeing all operations, being in charge of the culture and the environment and the messaging of the team. So the first answer is he gone. Sirianni gone if it doesn't work out. Now, the second question is, how do you move on from player-wise? I think you gotta look at the defense. I think that, if you go like 8-9 or 9-8, that means the defense is not as good as you thought it was. Because the Eagles, with a disjointed offense last year, that even guys like Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson have admitted they missed opportunities. They should have scored more touchdowns last year, and they couldn't get it done. Even they admitted that, look, even in the midst of us having all these problems, we still were statistically a top 10 offense. They were 7th in the NFL in points scored. So if they were 7th in the NFL in points scored, and Hurts himself scored more touchdowns in 2023 than 2022, I'm personally not sweating the idea that the offense would be the reason why you lost a bunch of games. If you lose a bunch of games that you expect to win, it's because of the defense. Then you have to have the question about Josh Sweat's future, Darius Slay's future. the future of Reed Blankenship, for example, the linebackers, the defensive tackles. Did Davis and Carter disappoint us, right? Did Bryce Huff not play up to his contract? I think the bigger question, Cole, is going to look at the defense. It's not going to look at the offense. 609-403-0970. Jack for Gaming Cordell says, he says, Hurts definitely didn't get a knee procedure because he played in the Pro Bowl after the season, and he was running around in a flag football game. I'm sure if I'd done something wrong, the Eagles would not let him out there. Yeah, you're right. If Hurts was really that injured, why would they let him go out? Now, I will say that Embiid is playing in the Olympics for Team USA, and he looks sluggish and blah as anything. And you could argue the Sixers probably don't want him out there representing Team USA. So sometimes these teams, Jack, they don't always have a say what the players are doing. But I think at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, you're right. Hurts probably was not as banged up as we thought he was. And maybe it was more of a wear and tear injury that just needed rest and rehabilitation than it was an actual, I need to have surgery. Not every injury necessitates surgery. Sometimes you can rehab your way out of something because, for example, if you sustain a knee injury, you can hurt your knee, but it doesn't mean you need surgery to put anything back together, put anything back in place. It could just be a hyperextension or a strain or a something that weakens the joint, but it doesn't actually damage the ligaments or the meniscus or whatever it may be. So there is that to keep in mind. And I will say, remember, Hurts did have a knee brace on in 2022. It may just be possible that his knees are just maybe susceptible to, I don't want to say susceptible because I'm making it sound like he's injury prone. Some guys just have weaker parts of their body than others. It's the idea that genetically and biologically in our DNA, everyone has weak points in their body. You might have a chronic health problem. You might be someone who gets migraine headaches. You might be someone who seems to always twist your ankle, right? Or you might be someone who constantly has back problems, right? So it might just be that Jalen Hurts might just be the dude who always has knee problem. A couple of texts from Luke in Atlantic City at 609-403-0973. Luke says, Hurts and Saquon will help each other. Defenses now have to worry about, is Saquon behind the line, or is Hurts keeping it, or are the wide receivers in Dallas catching it? Who do you stop now? I'm looking forward to big point totals this season. That's from Luke in Atlantic City. See, I'm with you, Luke. I think that this offense is going to be electric because it's Kellen Moore calling and not Brian Johnson, number one. And number two, you're right. Saquon and Hurts become a dual threat in the backfield that if you're a defense, you're wondering who's getting the ball. And even if Hurts holds on to the ball, could he run it? Could he pass it? Who does he pass it to? Does he pass it to Goddard, Smith, Brown? Oh, and by the way, if Saquon leaks out of the backfield into the flat, he could dump it off to him as well. Luke from Atlantic City also says, oh, yeah, I really want to go to Camden for a Sixers game. Heck no. Look, you live in Atlantic City, okay? And whether you are from Atlantic City, Philadelphia, Camden, Trenton, Baltimore, any town in any metropolis-style city in the United States, there are bad parts of towns in every part of the country. So I'm not going to act like Camden is any worse than anywhere else. If you go by the crime statistics, you could argue that Newark is way more dangerous than Camden is. But people go to the Newark airport and people go and watch games in Newark for different events, UFC fights, for example. Like based on what you're saying, Luke, the UFC should never have an event in Newark ever again, and they should only come to Atlantic City because Newark is 10 times more dangerous in terms of crime statistics than Atlantic City is. I think that if they built the arena in Camden, it would be because it would be in a part of Camden that would be not a nefarious part of Camden. I've had to go to Camden plenty of times. I had to take a family member of mine up there to Cooper. And I don't want to get into a lot of details about what was going on there, but I never went to Cooper and felt like I was unsafe. I never felt like I parked my vehicle in the parking garage or waiting at the ER and I felt like, man, I'm in Camden. What am I going to do? No, I never felt like that there because I wasn't in a bad part of Camden. I think that if you put the arena in a part of the city and you have security like you're supposed to in any sporting arena, then it should be fine. And then finally, Terry mentioned about the Flyers. Flyers are not owned by the same entity as the Sixers. Sixers are owned by the Harris-Blitzer Group. Flyers are owned by Comcast Spectacor / Xfinity. Comcast Xfinity owns the Wells Fargo Center. Sixers do not own the Wells Fargo Center. So the whole point of Sixers getting an arena, Terry, is that they want to have their own arena. They don't want to be dictated to by the Flyers and Xfinity Comcast Spectacor. So that's why they would move out of that arena because they want their own so they can make their own gate. They can make their own profit margins. It's a business decision more so than anything else. All right, I got more text to get to a little bit later this hour, but coming up next, we'll get more perspective on the Eagles offense and players reporting a training camp in a few days from former NFL wide receiver Dave Klemic joining me next here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Thursday afternoon.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And it just keeps getting better.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
The seafood extraordinary, the value tremendous, the sunsets on the house. It's Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant. Dine indoors or on the deck overlooking the bay. The Phillies are always on at Yuri's. Watch the game and enjoy daily food and drink specials, including all-you-can-eat crab backed by popular demand. Yuri's is perfect for families with a kids menu and arcade. Next door to Yuri's is the Boathouse Restaurant. Two great ways to experience the Jersey Shore's best waterfront dining. Yuri's and the Boathouse at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And when you join My Lowe's Rewards for free, the savings just keep coming. Save money with member-only offers, plus earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards, just for you. Because Lowe's knows you earned it, literally. Learn more about our loyalty program at Lowes.com/MyLowe'sRewards and become a member for free today. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowes.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to MattBlattKiaNJ.com for more details. That's MattBlattKiaNJ.com.
It's gotta be a
Matt Blatt Kia.
Powered by NJM. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Could the Sixers really be coming to New Jersey? I'm Nick Earnshaw with your South Jersey Sports Center and with your 97.3 ESPN question of the day. A new report from ROI NJ News suggests that the state of New Jersey is making a push to convince Sixers ownership to move the franchise across the Delaware River and build a new stadium in Camden. With that being said, our 97.3 ESPN question of the day is, would you want to see the 76ers move to New Jersey? Let us know by texting 609-403-0973 or use the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Absolutely not. I think the 76ers should stay in South Philly where the sports complex is, where all of the rest of the teams are. Don't move out of there. It's an easy spot to get to and very accessible. Once again, text in at 609-403-0973. Your forecast is next.
Everyone on the road is trying to make it to their destination safely. You can help by staying aware of the large trucks and buses around you. They take longer to stop, have large blind spots, and make wide turns that require caution from other drivers. It takes all of us working together to share the road safely. Learn more at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov. Paid for by FMCSA.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. All week long, I've been promoting tomorrow as being the nicest day of the week, and that's still very much the case. A beautiful summer day coming right up, and tonight looks comfortable too. Skies will clear out, low temperature dips to 66. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and dry, seasonably warm, high of 85. Enjoy it. 87 on Saturday with sun and clouds, chance of a late day shower, partly sunny, and 88 Sunday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card, good for use at the Ravioli House in Wildwood for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
SeizeTheDeal.com. You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
When I'm driving, I got a guy on the radio who talks to me. I can't see him, but he talks to me.
On 97.3 ESPN.
Being brought to you by Brawley's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Brawley's is your trusted source for heating and plumbing service and installation for generations. Call them at 609-390-3907 or visit them online at broadleys.net. We'll check in with former NFL wide receiver Dave Klemic in a couple minutes here on the Sports Pass. Josh Hennig hanging out with you, filling in for Mike here on 97.3 ESPN. If you squeeze it up a test before we talk to Dave here at 609-403-0973. Paul from the Hobbit Beach says, hey, Josh, Camden is a dump like in the Sixers stay in South Philly at the sports complex. They already are planning to build up sports contest. Building up. Well, two things. Number one, Camden, I don't understand why people are acting like Camden is the worst city in the world. Camden is way better than Houston. Okay, they have concerts there all the time. It's not like people are going to Camden constantly and like, yeah, I went to a concert and it happened. Right? That's the first thing. The second thing, the reason why they can't see the sports complex is small because they want to own their own arena. They want to have their own stadium, their own arena where they can make money off the box office, where they can make money off the concessions, where they have a more legitimate stream of money. It's why the Clippers are moving out of Crypto.com Arena, which used to be a Staples Center, to have their own building away from the Lakers for the same reason. The Clippers and the Sixers don't own their current arenas. They don't have a say in their own arenas. They are stuck with whatever the owners tell them or give them to do. So unless you're going to magically find a new space in the sports complex just for the Sixers to have their own arena, that's why they want to move, Paul and Rehoboth. It's not as simple as why can't the Sixers just stay? You got to look at it from their perspective. The owners of the Sixers are going to spend their own money, over $1 billion, to build an arena that they will believe in a couple of years will earn them back that money tenfold. That's why that they want to do this. So, we can look at the sports complex, as Nick Earnshaw said on the update, as, oh, it's convenient, it makes sense, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, it actually doesn't make sense because the Sixers don't even have the opportunity to maximize their own profit margins from having their own arena. And in today's NBA, you are going to make more money if you have your own arena. That's half the reason why the Nets moved to the Barclays Center, because they wanted to have an arena that they could have concerts and events, and they have a huge shopping area in the complex itself. It's more than just a basketball court with seats. 609-403-0973. Jeff from Galloway says, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Sixers owners also owns the New Jersey Devils. That is correct. The Harris Blitzer Group are also the owners of the New Jersey Nets. So they already have a lot of their business interests already in New Jersey. So it would not be a reach for them to continue just doing business in New Jersey. I think that selfishly for them, they would prefer to be in New Jersey and not in Philadelphia/Pennsylvania, because economically and financially, they could streamline probably a lot of their business operations. Now, that's not the real reason why they would move. That's a reason, not the main reason. But the good point for Jeff from Galloway. They're already in New Jersey. So they're familiar with how that would impact their bottom line, how that would impact their business. The other thing is that, there are a lot of people who go to these games who are crossing the bridge from New Jersey into Philadelphia. And, they're raising the toll rate for everyone crossing the Walt Whitman into Philadelphia later this year. So you're basically discouraging people. You're de-incentivizing people from going to Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, and Eagles games now. And if the Sixers can become the one team that is not forcing you to pay that awful toll to go to the game, then that should be a win for you, right? That should be a positive on your behalf. So I kind of look at all of this as, I understand why they want to move. I understand why people want them to stay. I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of the owners of the team. Why this would be appealing, why this would be an option. And let's be realistic. They wanted that spot in Penn's Landing, and the city basically gave it to somebody else. And 4 years later, they still haven't started on that project. So the city literally took away a spot in Penn's Landing where the Sixers originally wanted to put an arena, gave it to another project that hasn't even started 4 years later. So if you're the 76ers, you look at, how do I put this? You look at the city of Philadelphia as maybe not a good partner in business. You look at the city of Philadelphia as an entity that is not willing to have a healthy, good business relationship with you. So really, if you're going to blame anyone, you should blame the city of Philadelphia, because the city of Philadelphia is putting the Sixers in a position where they would want to leave. All right, as promised, we finally got him. Dave Klemic. So he's a former NFL wide receiver, Mainland Regional High School graduate, spent time with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's also the owner of Klemic Performance Method, and he joins me right now here on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Dave, my friend, welcome in. How you doing, brother?
Josh, I'm caffeinated, I'm activated, I'm ready to go. As usual.
Can you share some of that caffeine? I think I might need some, honestly.
Oh, man. Around this time of day, I've been going to this place called Moose, and it's owned by a former guy I played in the NFL, Mike Bird, but the Bird family, Corey Bird from the Indianapolis Colts, his brother. And, man, they make some good coffee over there, man. It's challenging my Starbucks addiction.
Only Dave Klemic could randomly plug a coffee place in the middle of a segment supposed to be about football. Let's get to the football, my friend. So one of the reasons why I wanted you to jump on is because you know what it's like being an NFL player, having to go into training camp with a new playbook you have to learn. Jalen Hurts said last month that it's basically learning a 95% new playbook. So talk to the audience what it means for an NFL player. Yeah, you went through the OTAs, you went through minicamp, but now you're going to training camp and you got this brand new playbook, this brand new offense in the system that you're having to learn and pick up and get efficient at.
Yeah, I mean, for the best way I can correlate it to like some people can understand, it's like you got to learn a new language. So like if you're trying to learn, I don't know, Spanish one year, and then the next year you have to learn Japanese or whatever, then you're going to have to like learn the language and it's not just like the language that you read out of a book. Dynamic language. It's like you got to learn this on the move. Like you have to be activated while you're moving and not just looking and reading it out of a book. These plays are live. You're moving parts very fast with very, very athletic people moving around against you or with you. You know, it's people don't give credit enough for the intelligence of an NFL quarterback, at least maybe the quarterbacks, but the rest of the players to pick that up. And a lot of times there's so many trades every single year that you have to change the language because someone could go over and coaching change could switch and like, yo, I got their, all their language at that place. You can read it. There's the cues to read it. So they have to literally change the language every year that people can't cue in on that. It's wild. There's so much studying that goes on. People don't understand. I was most impressed at the NFL level with how players could pick that up. And they would hire tutors, man. You would hire, it's just like school. You hire your coach or you'd hire a quality control guy to come to your house and help you understand the plays. You know what I mean? He walked around in your backyard with you if you had to. Unbelievable. You know, it's a lot of studying, but that's kind of what it's like. Is that
It does. So with that being said, we have heard different players describe the Kellen Moore offense. Lane Johnson has said it's more up-tempo and efficient. Jason Kelsey says it's more creative than what they had last year. Jalen Hurts has said it's more dynamic. Saquon Barkley says one of the reasons why he came to Philadelphia is because the Eagles view him as an offensive weapon and not as just a running back. So when you hear all those players describing it that way, what does that say to Dave Klemic?
I like when the players say when they're bought in on something, they're excited. They feel like they're part of it. They feel like they're part of the decision making. You know what I mean? If they feel they're involved and they can help you, like they'll get behind it emotionally. That is a huge help because I've played with some guys that weren't behind you emotionally. They didn't believe in your system, and it's a cancer on the team. They're just like, see, I told you that wasn't going to work. See, I told you we should have run it. You know what I mean? And you're going to say, like, if people are bought in together like that, then, there's some unity in that. And there's not that cancer feeling on the team where you're like, what a bummer. Like, even if it goes well, somebody else is throwing their hands up. But I love to hear them in unity. You have your backs, your receivers, your quarterback, and your line are all excited about new dynamic offense. That means they trust you a little bit too. If you're trying to baby your young quarterback who's like a young stud quarterback and you're trying to put the handcuffs on him so it's easy for him to make decisions and you don't want to complicate things, they're insulted by that. But like, no, challenge me, man. I want to be challenged. You know what I mean? I'll make my mistakes, but like, you know what I mean? I want to be challenged. And they don't want to be, they don't want, I know for certain. I don't like that. I didn't like that. You're like, yo, you're only going to give me 3 routes to run. I hate that. Let me run some of those complicated routes. You know what I mean? And that's just the nature of it. And when you're having these guys are highly intelligent. We're talking about, especially these quarterbacks, man, super intelligent. You could read their Wonderlic scores and see they're all very, very intelligent people. But that you cannot put intelligence on a paper test to what happens on the field with dynamics and emotions. And it's now you're talking about geniuses, these quarterbacks in the NFL. That's who I think they are.
Talking with former NFL wide receiver and Mainland Regional High School graduate Dave Klemic here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. You just mentioned about how the receivers, they want to be challenged. They want to run more than just a couple routes. And it brings me back to how many times the Eagles had predetermined throws built into the playbook last year. With Shane Steichen in 2022, Hurts had multiple options on different route trees, right? So the receiver and the quarterback had more creativity, more flexibility, as you talked about. You're not asking me to run just one or two routes, right? Or three routes in that case. So if you go from an offense that had so many predetermined throws last year to an offense that has way more creativity and is more dynamic this year, then does that say to you, Dave, that the Eagles offense is going to be, like how much better does that make the offense?
Well, I've been very public about my criticism on the Eagles offense, which was that we probably had the most talented, offensive weapons in the league, but we had the least pre-snap motion. And I always say you play offense offensively. You don't play offense defensively, which is what we do, which is when you are running these run RPOs nonstop, which we read what the defense is giving us, and then we make a decision on what we're doing. Well, that affects your ability to process thoughts and then go apply that to the field aggressively. You're always thinking about what the defense is doing, being decisive. Actually puts the defense on like its heels, right? Now you're playing around. I know you're moving and you're putting people in motion and shifting and this and that may change. Like it's your thoughts are now. I've heard the other side of that argument too, by the way. But when you're putting yourself in motion and making the shifts, the defense is always on. What are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? Oh shoot, there we go. And it is your decision to make the move, not theirs. You're not basing the offense off of a defense. That's silly. That's not decisive. That's not football. It's not aggressive. So when you do, if you looked at the three top offenses, it was Kansas City, Miami, San Francisco. All three of them had the most pre-snap motion and shift. Right? So it's just going. There's a correlation there, and it's not always all statistical. That makes sense. That sure does. That's 3 for 3. Three top offenses has the most pre-snap motion. You got to look into that. And your offense with the most offensive weapons is one of the, I don't know, they're one of the worst, but we're not nearly as productive as we could have been had we used a lot of that pre-snap motion. And the creativity a lot of times has to do with using your players in creative ways. And that means pre-snap motion. You know what I mean? Zigzag motion, which is like in and out. You have, you're doing sweeps and reverses and a lot more jet sweeps and stuff like that. Yeah, we did none of that. It was boring. It was boring to watch. And and then it gets predictable. Once you're predictable, then it's the defense plays games with you. Come on.
Yeah, go ahead.
So anyway, that was my long story of like I've been very public about this, screaming and ranting. What was the Eagles' best play last year? Tush push. Everybody knew it was coming. We are going to go, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it so well, get out of our way. And so what do? We were decisive. We were offensive. We were aggressive. When you run those RPOs, it's like 90% of your offense, which I think it was like 70% of the offense. You're worried so much about what they're doing, you're not making aggressive decisions. So I was highly annoyed by that.
Yeah, and it's funny because Kellen Moore is well known for having a pre-snap motion offense. He comes from that kind of like, half air raid, half greatest show on turf type of mentality. So we know he's going to run the pre-snap motion. With all that being said, for you, Dave Klemic, what is a realistic expectation for Saquon Barkley in the Eagles offense?
Well, if he's a Penn State guy. My mom went to Penn State. My father-in-law went to Penn State. My mom went to Penn State. Austin Johnson, one of my favorite athletes of all time, went to Penn State. We're Penn Staters. But and I think he's probably one of the most dynamic backs we've seen since, I'm going to say, you could argue with me, but I could say Barry Sanders. And he's got that type of ability. And we're in an offense now that doesn't use the running back as much. So I think if he can catch the ball out of the backfield a little bit more, and he's a threat right there, he's going to be dangerous. I mean, him added to this offense also takes some pressure off of Jalen Hurts' legs. I think this is going to be fun to watch Saquon Barkley play in the offense with this type of talent. It's going to be fun to watch this year. I can't wait to turn that TV on.
All right, before I let you go, because we have a limited amount of time here, tell us about the event you got coming up next week with Tim Watson.
All right, so Tim Watson, who played for the Seattle Seahawks, by the way, a mainland kid. Neat story. Tim was drafted 10 picks before Tom Brady in the 6th round in 2000. Next year, I went to the Kansas City Chiefs. The next year, John Stone went to the Indianapolis Colts. And so 3 of us we were all NFL players at the same time for the same high school football team. But so that's Tim. Tim has a huge whole background in coaching at Cedar Creek, multiple state championships at Cedar Creek, now at Mainland. And what he's done, and I've known this for a very long time, almost 20 years, that he's been into mental preparation training. And he's not like a licensed sports psychologist. So he uses what we always say is what's deeper than physical preparation, and it's mental preparation. Everybody, what's deeper than that? Spiritual preparation. Well, Tim does kind of both, and the clinic is about how to harness that and let that architect your pre-practice, your pre-game, and how you architect your confidence and like your preparation. So it's amazing that we kind of don't think about that. And if you ask anybody, they'll be like, "How much of the game is mental?" And you're like, "Oh, it's like 90%." How much are you preparing mentally? They're like, "None." Like 0. Like, how much are you preparing physically? Like 100%. Like, yes. And then he architects this plan for you, all these cues and all these like this, or it's like the movie Inception. Like he's an architect of your thoughts and how you prepare things. And we've already used it at Klemic Performance Method a little bit, and it's phenomenal what he can accomplish inside of you, and how much you start to organize your own athletic plans and how you prepare for your games. Unbelievable. It's invaluable. The cost is $79 for 3 lessons. And those are the 23rd, the 25th, and I think the 29th. It's on our website, www.klemicperformancemethod.com. And you can sign up right on there. We got a load of people. Bo Melton is going to speak there. Max Melton is going to speak there, the 2nd round draft pick, and they're doing videos for us because they will be in training camp. But they are some of Tim's former players. Excited to do it. It's unbelievable information. I'd love to have you guys, and Tim is just an absolute genius. You guys, I can't wait for you to hear him talk.
Again, KlemicPerformanceMethod.com to get more information. We've been joined today by Dave Klemic, the owner of Klemic's Performance Method, former NFL wide receiver, Mainland Regional High School graduate, and I can say a friend of mine here joining me on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, hopefully we can get you on a little earlier next time, and we're not cramped for time, okay?
Yep. All right.
Stop talking to your dog the whole time, okay?
Chiefs. Yeah. Josh and I work out together on Wednesday nights. Come join us. It's the funnest workout ever. What we do is we put on a football game. First downs are push-ups. Receptions are sit-ups. Squats are, touchdowns. It's like this whole thing, and we just work out together, and it's a killer workout. Come on, hang out with us.
I'll talk to you later, man.
Bye, bro.
Dave Klemic joining us here. Dave forgets that there's no football games on right now, though. we do that during the football season. We'll rewatch a game, but during the off season, he's always. I was gonna make fun of him. He always tries to come up with some new workout to like see if I can do it or not. And it was funny because the other day he ran into someone I went to school with when I was younger. And this individual was telling him about, oh, Joshua's a great athlete. You don't understand what he could do. So Dave Lilly set up this program last night for him and I to work out to see if what this person I went to school with told him was true about me. And I was just like, really, dude? Like, I'm tired, man. You're going to make me do all this? Okay, fine. I'll do it. You know? Dave's a great guy, though. Dave's a great guy. KlemicPerformanceMethod.com to get more information about the event next week with Tim Watson. And like I said, they're going to have Bo Melton and Max Melton speaking virtually at the event. All right. We will wrap up the 3 o'clock hour coming up on the other side. And then football at 4 with Andrew DiCecco from the InsideTheBirds.com will join us coming up at 4 o'clock. And Knicks Nuggets as well, still to come on 97.3 ESPN.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Never thought this radio stunt would catch on so big.
On 97.3 ESPN.
Beat the heat this month at Matt Blatt Kia during our sale Abrasion. Take $7,500 off MSRP or pay 0% for 48 months and make no payments for 90 days on every clearly marked EV in stock. Plus, with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy, you can drive with peace of mind. Have a job clearing $450 per week? Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today. 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 0%. So if you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, we want to get you released. It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, 24 Nero EV and EV6, 2083 per thousand. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. $7,500 customer cash from Kia America for the purchase or lease of a specially tagged 2024 vehicle. Bonus cash must be applied for the purchase or lease and not available for cash. Subject to vehicle availability and dealer participation. EV6 rebates and incentives to dealer expires 8/4/24.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Here in New Jersey, it's one wow after another, after another, after another. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Beach, boardwalk, music. It's Asbury Park, of course. You've got the legendary Convention Hall, Wonder Bar, and the Stone Pony, the Silver Ball Retro Pinball Arcade, a family favorite, and food ranging from boardwalk classics to barbecue to beer halls to fine dining. Asbury Park is an incredibly diverse Jersey Shore town with rich history and a rock star attitude. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
TLC Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling have been proudly serving South Jersey for over 20 years. Owner Matt Calloway was born and raised in Cape May County and has over 25 years of experience in the heating and cooling industry, as well as fireplaces, plumbing, and bathroom renovations. You can always count on a licensed and insured local contractor like TLC Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling to be there promptly and to fix your problem right the first time. If your home needs a little TLC, get TLC Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today. Online at tlcphc.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
My mom was so tired all the time. And anytime I told her a problem, she always had one solution. She'd be like, "You should take a nap." Both my wrists could be cut, and I could be holding a knife, and I could be like, "I don't want to be here!" And she'd be like, "Have you slept?"
From Saturday Night Live, his Netflix specials, and Peacock's Bupkis, Pete Davidson Prehab Tour. Saturday, July 20th, Ovation Hall and Ocean Casino Resort. Tickets on sale now at theoceanac.com. Pete Davidson Prehab Tour, live.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, before we get out of here for the 3 o'clock hour, Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, 3 o'clock hour has been brought to you by Broadlee's Plumbing and Heating and Air Conditioning. Broadlee's, your trusted source for air conditioning and plumbing services, as well as installation for generations. Call them at 609-390-3907 or visit them online at broadlees.net. Luke in Atlantic City says, Klemic is absolutely right. You have to have an offense. You dictate what the defense does, not let them dictate to you what you do. And I think that is one of the big differences between the Eagles' offense did last year versus what they will do this year. It'll be a completely different way of handling their business. More football talk coming in next. Andrew DiCecco from InsideTheBirds.com will join us next on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Thursday afternoon.
Hey, it's Tom P., host of Rack and Fin Radio, inviting you to join me every Saturday morning at 7 here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Each week, we discuss the hot topics affecting the sportsmen and sportswomen in New Jersey. Hunting, fishing, boating, conservation, and Second Amendment topics are some of the issues that are covered in depth.
Rack and Fin Radio is brought to you by Utch's Marina.
That's Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P., every Saturday morning at 7 on 97.3 ESPN FM, South Jersey's sports leader.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Blow off the boat trip. Cancel the cookout. It's the Matt Blatt Infinity July Blowout. Get eaten up in the lap of luxury at the all-new Matt Blatt Infinity with $10,000 off MSRP on the all-wheel drive QX80 8-passenger SUV. Or buy one with 0 down and 0.9% financing for 63 months. Plus, with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy, you'll drive with peace of mind. Come experience affordable luxury. Matt Blatt Infinity needs your trade. Even if you're stuck in a loan or lease, Matt Blatt Infinity will get you released. Then, take $10,000 off every clearly marked all-wheel drive QX80 Century package. Or put 0 down and 0.9% at Matt Blatt Infinity. On approved Tier 1 credit through IFS. Negative equity will be refinanced into the new vehicle. Plus tax tag and $589 fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to mattblattinfinity.com for complete details. VIN R9326645. QX80 MSRP 92355. $16.10 per thousand rebates and incentives to dealer. Offers not a combination. Ends 8/6/2024.
It's on at Matt Blatt Infinity on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
There are a lot of so-called fast food deals out there. But do any of them have the Wendy's Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, crispy fries, everyone's favorite nugs, and a drink for just $5 like Wendy's Biggie Bag? Nope. And that's why no other deals can be called the Wendy's Biggie Bag. That and a little thing called plagiarism. When the deal is as fresh as the meal, gotta be Wendy's.
Gotta be fresh.
Includes choice of JBC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? You've got an oil change coming up. You can go farther and save on full synthetic with our oil change special. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of STP full synthetic oil with an STP extended life oil filter for just $29.99. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And when you join My Lowe's Rewards for free, the savings just keep coming. Save money with member-only offers, plus earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards, just for you. Because Lowe's knows you earned it, literally. Learn more about our loyalty program at Lowes.com/MyLowe'sRewards and become a member for free today. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
We all have places to go and things to do, but when you're getting around in Atlantic and Cape May counties this summer, it pays to be street smart. When crossing the street, use crosswalks, pay attention to walk signs. And when driving, the law says it's not enough to yield, we have to stop for pedestrians. Whether you're driving, walking, or biking, have a heads up and put the phone down. Let's all be safe, smart, and aware of our surroundings and others. Street Smart is New Jersey's pedestrian safety education campaign. Learn more at bstreetsmartnj.org.
Home of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill, 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN presents the Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with Andrew DiCecco, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast.
We're never satisfied. That hunger for more. I have it. Everyone has it.
Now live, this is Football at 4.
Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN. Yes, Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. And Andrew DiCecco joins us as he does each and every Thursday here on 97.3 ESPN. And we are continuing our conversation with him each week, him and Mike Evan, previewing a different division in the NFL. But we'll bring up Andrew here. Andrew, first of all, how are you doing on this Thursday? I hope you're staying hydrated with the humidity out there.
Josh, I'm certainly doing my best. It's good to be with you. How are you?
Doing well. But before we get to the NFC West, I do want to ask you really quick because, you know, I saw you writing about on Twitter X about how, you know, players you're looking forward to. And I want to specifically ask you about one of the names you put out there, Josh Jobe, because he's a guy that you have talked about a lot in recent years. And I want to know for you, you know, when you look at some of these guys with these new coaches coming in the training camp, you know, how for you are you evaluating differently, knowing that, you know, the past couple of years, it was one defensive coordinator. Then they changed it again last year. Now they changed it again this year. So for you, how does changing coordinators impact how you're evaluating players as you're going in the training camp?
In terms of Josh Jobe, I know you led with Josh Jobe. Is that who you're asking about?
It's just in general. I mean, you can use Jobe as an example, I meant, but like, you know, in general, like how are you like deciphering all this?
Well, you have to look at everything differently because there's different styles and they're going to be asked to execute differently. And I think in terms of communication, that's where you're really going to see the Eagles have a completely reinvigorated, I guess, unit with Christian Parker, their new defensive backs coach, and Vic Fangio. And I think just having a fresh perspective and pretty much a clean slate, they don't know any of these players. So they're all going to have an opportunity to really earn their roster spot. And by doing that, you have to be a consistent practice player, which factors very heavily for Vic Fangio. And Josh Jobe, you know, as an example, was the breakout star of training camp last summer. So practice habits go a long way with Vic. And when you're trying to really find out who your core members are going to be, I mean, it comes down to communication and execution. And Josh really did that last year. And he's also a very prominent fixture on special teams. So that also really comes into the equation here when you're trying to whittle things down in a very crowded defensive back room.
You know, it's interesting because we're counting down the days of training camp, and I think some people are still trying to, you know, wrap their head around the idea that this is a completely new coaching staff, basically, around Sirianni, and that newness is something that no matter how much you have in OTAs and minicamp, Andrew, these players still have to fully get this down, right? This is not going to happen overnight.
Exactly. And that's something that I've been sort of trying to kind of educate the audience on, is that, listen, they may not just hit the ground running. There's a lot of different subtleties and nuances to this defense. Yes, they have been running variants of this defense in the past, so it's not completely new. But to be able to execute in the way that Vic wants you to do it, and they have to see it the same way, all that stuff takes a long time to get all 11 players operating in concert. And I think that it's tough to really appreciate that when you're looking at things in a vacuum, but that's something that really needs to be taken into consideration here. That's why it was so important to have the mini camp and the OTAs to really use that time as an installation period so that you're not really wasting any days in training camp, for lack of a better term. You're able to maximize the practices that you have and really build on what you learned in the spring.
And let's get to the NFC West as promised. And one of the teams that is also bringing in a new coaching staff is the Seattle Seahawks, a team that was 9-8 last year, missed out on the postseason. They're going through a change as well as Philadelphia. So for you, what are you keeping an eye on with the new head coach McDonald and the Seahawks out there in Seattle?
Well, obviously, I love their continuity there at the wide receiver position, and DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, who was a rookie last season. Eagles fans remember him very well. Their offensive line isn't too bad. Charles Cross, who was their first-round pick in 2022, he's a player that I like. They also have Abraham Lucas at the other tackle spot, who's a third-round pick in 2023. Noah Fant he's sort of been a polarizing figure in the NFL because he has the athleticism, but he hasn't really been able to put that together for a sustainable period of time. But if he's healthy and things are clicking, he gives Geno Smith a really good intermediary option and safety valve. And then I really like their running game offensively with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet as a two-headed rushing attack.
I mentioned the Seahawks were 9-8 last year. Do you think they can have a better record this year, or do you think they're in a division that's just too tough?
Well, it is a really tough division, and we'll get into a couple of the other teams that I think are really going to factor heavily in the discussion. But their defense, if you kind of go through it, their defense is actually primed to be a contender. I just don't have a lot of faith in Geno Smith being able to replicate his recent success, especially when you when you look at all the other teams around and they're all very formidable and they all pose different threats in terms of defensively, and they can really get after the quarterback. So I just have some questions as to the quarterback. And let's not forget, Sam Howell was there as well. Sam Howell, of course, with the Commanders last couple of seasons. He's there backing up Geno Smith. But I just don't have a lot of faith in the quarterbacks, in either of those quarterbacks, to really be able to manufacture production for the entirety of the season.
We talk with Andrew DiCecco, Eagles writer for InsideTheBirds.com, as well as NFL Draft Analyst, joining us here on Football at 4. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, at Andrew DiCecco over on Twitter X. Andrew, the other team that did make the postseason last year in the NFC West was the Arizona Cardinals. Interesting team, interesting additions this offseason, especially through the draft. Marvin Harrison Jr., Max Melton. What are your perspective on the Cardinals? Are they going to be better than 4-13 last year?
I believe they will, and I think Jonathan Gannon is really quietly building something special over there. I don't want to say that they're going to be a contender because this is a really tough division, but I think he's making them competitive. And slowly but surely, you've added pieces in Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Wilson was a third-round pick in 2023 who I really liked. He didn't really have much of an opportunity to showcase what he could do. Zay Jones is there. He's been around for a while. Greg Dortch is a sort of a intermediary option, sort of a slot guy. They can do some different things. So they have some good weapons there. Offensive line, Paris Johnson, if you may remember, he was drafted in the first round in 2023. And Jonah Williams is there. And they also drafted Isaiah Adams from Illinois. He was drafted in the third round as well. So they have some pieces there on the offensive line. Remember, that's been a unit that has perpetually been pretty putrid. And I think that the quarterbacks haven't been able to kind of meet the expectations in large part due to the offensive line being so porous. But I think that they're trending in the right direction there. Tight end wise, Trey McBride, I really like. I think that you're starting to see him really emerge. He's really athletic, starting to come into his own. And they drafted a guy named Tip Raymond in the third round in 2020, just in April. So they have some good look for a quarterback. Their best friend are tight ends, especially when you're under duress. And I think they have two good ones there for Kyler Murray to utilize. And their running backs, James Conner is more of a plotter. He's not a flashy runner, but he has a really good, he has a nose for the end zone. He's tough. And then Trey Benson was my favorite running back in the draft, who they added in the third round. So they have some pieces there offensively to do something.
You mentioned Murray. That's the other part I wanted to ask you about with the Cardinals. We know historically it's not the year after the surgery, it's the year after the surgery, right? It's the second year removed that a quarterback starts looking more like himself when they go through these different types of knee surgery. So for you, is it realistic to say, hey, we know that Murray will be better this year?
Yeah, I think he will. And now he has, a pretty, I would say, a pretty considerable group to work with. He has, Marvin Harrison Jr., who I think is going to be a very early impact rookie. Obviously, he's pro ready, and certainly that's going to help Kyler Murray having a reliable option, even though he is a rookie. And then I mentioned the 2 tight ends. I think you're going to see Kyler Murray be a lot more confident back there, returning from the injury, and that offense should be able to manufacture some yards. It's just they're in a division, unfortunately for them, that it's going to be really tough to make some headway because they have some pretty big heavy hitters there.
Let's go to one of the teams that made the postseason last year, that being the Rams. Now, the Rams are interesting because everyone keeps saying, well, if Stafford is healthy, they have improved the offensive line. But Andrew, I got to ask you about the defense because I feel like we haven't talked enough. At least I haven't heard anyone nationally talk about how you lose Aaron Donald. He's a future Hall of Famer. That's a huge hole to fill for the Rams.
Yeah, it is. I really like the Rams. I'm bullish on them. I like what they've done by adding Braden Fisk in the second round. They've added Jared Verse, who's a pass rushing linebacker, in the first round. Christian Roseboom is a really underrated player at linebacker. And Ernest Jones is one of my favorite linebackers in the NFL. Very underrated. If you're not familiar with his game, go watch some of the Rams' best games from last season. He's all over the field. He's a tackling machine. Very underrated. Byron Young, he's another guy that they have at linebacker. He was their 3rd round pick in 2023. And then on the defensive backfield, Cam Curl, that's a tremendous addition for them. He was on the free agent market way too long. He was my top safety in free agency. I thought he would have been a really good fit here in Philadelphia. Cam Kitchens from Miami, he didn't really have a good combine, but they drafted him in the 3rd round. I think he's a very good developmental player who should help them right away on special teams. Tre'Davious White comes over from the Buffalo Bills. John Johnson III is back, and they have a guy named Russ Yeast who played a ton of snaps for them over the years. So they have a lot of players who can help them in a multitude of ways.
Offensively, we have an idea of what this team can be because it is Sean McVay, because it is Stafford, Puka Nacua having the great year last year. So if all the what ifs line up, right? If Cooper Kupp stays healthy, if Stafford stay healthy, if the offensive line gets the continuity, how good can this offense be?
It's going to be exceptional. Look, I don't know how you view Matthew Stafford. I have him as a top 5 quarterback coming in at number 5 in the NFL. Just a really steady body of work. Even as he approaches 40 years old, he's just someone who he's a 3-level threat. He can make all the throws. He can get himself out of a bind, and he has a really, really strong receiving core in Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, a bunch of different players that bring different traits to the forefront that I think that Matthew Stafford is being that veteran, that battle-tested veteran, is going to be able to maximize. And then offensive line, Jonah Jackson at left guard, Steve Avila at center, who I really like coming out of TCU, and Kevin Dotson at right guard. That really gives them solid protection right in the middle of that offensive line. And then they've also added Blake Corum, the running back, of course, from Michigan in the 3rd round, which will complement Kyron Williams, who has been banged up a lot. So I really like the weapons that they have there.
Finally, with Andrew DiCecco here on Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Andrew, I will ask you about the team that many people consider the best team in the NFC still, that being the San Francisco 49ers. My first question I want to ask you is there any concern on your part that this drama with Brandon Ayuk could interrupt the 49ers' success this year?
Not so much. Look, Brandon Ayuk is an elite wide receiver, and I feel pretty comfortable saying that. But they already have Deebo Samuel. Jawan Jennings had a really good Super Bowl, and they've drafted Ricky Pearsall out of Florida, who I really like coming out of the draft. Exceptional route runner, more of a vertical slot type of player. And Jacob Cowing, who is a very small wide receiver, but he's excellent in the short area, explosive, quick twitch guy. They drafted him out of Arizona. So they have pieces. Now, it's very hard to replicate what Brandon Ayuk could do. I understand that, but I have to think that they're going to be able to work some things out, knowing that this is a team that's equipped to make another Super Bowl run, and the window is right there for them. Everything they want is right in front of them. You have to think that they're going to try and keep that core together, especially when you look at their offensive line. Trent Williams, they drafted Dominic Puny in the 3rd round. George Kittle is still a tight end that I still think he doesn't get talked about nearly enough. He's a very well-rounded player, good blocker, can create yards after the catch by breaking tackles. Christian McCaffrey at running back, of course, he is the ultimate X factor. He can beat you in a million different ways. And Elijah Mitchell backs him up. And Elijah Mitchell was once a starter, so I think having that good kind of thunder and lightning approach there can really help and elevate that offense. And then obviously Brock Purdy's at the controls, and backing him up is Josh Dobbs, who he had his 15 minutes of relevance last season.
The defense obviously has been one of the best in the NFL in recent years, and they've had multiple coordinators out there nonetheless. Andrew, they've been through, what is it? I think 3 or 4 now at this point, different DCs, and the defense is still executing. So what is the 49ers defense heading into 2024, coming off of a season where, let's be realistic, the reason why they lost Super Bowl was because they went against the best quarterback in the NFL. They didn't lose the Super Bowl because they're a bad defense.
And presiding over that defense is Nick Sorensen. I'm not sure if you're old enough, Josh, to remember, but Sorensen was a safety for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I want to say under the Jack Del Rio Jaguars in the earlier 2000s. So he's going to look over that defense that has Nick Bosa, Malik Collins, Javon Hargrave, who is still another player who is going to give that defense some juice coming up the middle. Leonard Floyd, it seems he's been around forever. He's there. Fred Warner is one of the best linebackers in the NFL, and they'll also have Dre Greenlaw by all accounts. We'll have to see how he is because, of course, he suffered that injury in the Super Bowl. And then defensively in the backfield, you have Travarius Ward. I think Travarius Ward is somebody who has quietly been a productive player. He's not a star. He's not flashy, but he's a really consistent coverage player. Talanoa Hufanga is a safety who is one of the best in the NFL. They drafted Malik Mustafa out of Wake Forest. Loved him coming out of the draft. They got him in the 4th round. Jair Brown is a second-year player from Penn State who they drafted in the 3rd round in 2023. I thought he did some really good things as a rookie last season when pressed into service. And then Renardo Green's a corner who I really liked. They got him in the 2nd round. I thought that was a surprising pick there a little bit. But they've always had a good track record of late developing these corners, whether it be a Denominor Lenore or Travarius Ward, whoever it may be. I think the 49ers have done a really good job of developing young defensive backs.
Yeah, I remember hard hitting Nick Sorensen. He was more of a banger than anything else as a safety.
Yeah, he couldn't cover, but I remember him being really smart.
Yeah, I remember him. I forget what game it was, but I remember they were playing the Titans, and he just like lit up somebody on a play, and I was just like I felt it watching the game. So yeah, I remember Nick Sorensen just for the fact that it was, I remember someone calling him hard hitting Nick Sorensen. So
yeah, they're known for having those thumpers at safety. I remember Jonathan Cyprien. He was somebody that did nothing. The only thing he really could do was hit, and Sorensen kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, Cyprien couldn't cover a lick either, which is hilarious. It's like Jack Del Rio was the defensive guy, and he had safeties who couldn't cover, basically. It was like the most bizarre thing in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
He's Andrew DiCecco. Give him a follow over on the Twitter X platform at Andrew DiCecco. Check out all of his coverage of the Eagles. Remember, we're just a few days away from the Eagles reporting for training camp, so you want to keep it tuned to InsideTheBirds.com for all of Andrew's coverage. And, of course, the Inside the Birds podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Andrew, great stuff today. We'll talk soon.
Have a great day, Josh.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN. Great stuff from Andrew there on the NFC West. And I think one of the big takeaways I took from him is that he said, the 49ers defense is still loaded. And I think that is the clear delineation, at least for me, about who this 49ers team is going to be. The 49ers are a dangerous, dangerous team. in the NFL, and they could easily go back to the Super Bowl again. It's just a question of, I know what Andrew said about the offense, that they're still a great offense, but I do always wonder, how does a malcontent like a Brandon Ayuk, who is frustrated with the team, not giving him a contract extension, not giving him what he wants, how does that impact everyone else in the organization, right? That's how I look at what my concern is about the offense. But the defense is important, because we've been talking a lot about the Eagles' offense throughout this conversation. Remember last year, the Niners defense crushed the Eagles offense. The only thing that was more crushed on that game was the Eagles defense by the 49ers offense. So the question coming in is going to be, naturally, can the Eagles' new offensive coordinator and retooled offensive personnel, it's a retool, right? You swap out DeAndre Swift for Saquon Barkley. You swap in Cam Jurgens as Jason Kelce retires. You're going to have a new slot receiver for the third straight year, right? You're going to be using a tight end more than you have in years past. How do all of those changes impact an Eagles 49ers matchup if they do meet up again in the postseason? Again, these are questions that I have heading into this year, because I understand that I am willing to accept that I know exactly who the Eagles are, okay? But what about the other teams you're going against? Does who the Eagles are, this new identity, as we talked about with Andrew, how they're implementing a new defensive coordinator, a new system, a new offensive coordinator, and a new system, how do all those changes come together when you're facing these other teams? Because you could have it all down pat in practice, in training camp, in the preseason, but then when you face some of these other teams, then what happens? And guess what? Unlike last year, you will not see the 49ers on your schedule this year. So if you do face them, it's in the postseason. And by the time you get to the postseason, if both of those teams are fully healthy and fully loaded and ready to go, how does that impact that matchup? That is a curiosity that I have coming in to this NFL season. All right, we'll check back on the text board a little bit later. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle. Coming up next, it's Nick's Nuggets. Nick Earnshaw joins me for another batch of topics he wants to discuss or debate or disagree about or agree about. You'll find out more coming up next on 973 ESPN.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
There he is. It's Agent 00 Chicken. Every move he makes, every chance he takes is to get to Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. And nothing will stop him from getting there. Because he knows that right now, he can get a 3-piece world-famous chicken box, white or dark meat, or chicken tenders for just $8, with a portion of each chicken box sale donated to a local charity. Plus, he can register to win world-famous chicken for a year. That's 3 pieces of hot, juicy, moist, and tender Royal Farms world-famous chicken for just $8. Come to Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. It's a real thriller, but it's only for a limited time. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms. No purchase necessary to enter or win. And September 2nd, 2024. Chicken for a year prize to be awarded as 8 $100 Royal Farms gift cards. For details and official rules, visit royalfarms.com/chicken-palooza. Void where prohibited. Sponsored by Royal Farms.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflush.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflush.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflesh.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflesh.com.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
As part of summer's greatest hits, it's the first ever Macy's All-Star Week. Join us for an incredible lineup of live events in-store every day, like fashion shows, beauty demos, and more fun for the family. Now through Tuesday, July 23rd. Plus, shop our best summer deals, like 50% off swim, sandals, and more. And exclusives just for Star Rewards members. You don't want to miss this. Go to Macys.com/events to see what's at your local store. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
There are a lot of so-called fast food deals out there. But do any of them have the Wendy's Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, crispy fries, everyone's favorite nugs, and a drink for just $5 like Wendy's Biggie Bag? Nope. And that's why no other deals can be called the Wendy's Biggie Bag. That and a little thing called plagiarism. When the deal is as fresh as the meal, gotta be Wendy's.
Gotta be fresh.
Includes choice of JBC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Black Nissan.
If you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released. MattBlackNissan.com. It's on at Matt Black Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Powered by NJM. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Could the Sixers really be coming to New Jersey? I'm Nick Earnshaw with your South Jersey Sports Center and with your 97.3 ESPN. Question of the day. A new report from ROI NJ News suggests that the state of New Jersey is making a push to convince Sixers ownership to move the franchise across the Delaware River and build a new stadium in Camden. With that being said, our 97.3 ESPN question of the day is, would you want to see the 76ers move to New Jersey? Let us know by texting 609-403-0973 or use the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Absolutely not. I think the 76ers should stay in South Philly where the sports complex is, where all of the rest of the teams are. Don't move out of there. It's an easy spot to get to and very accessible. Once again, text in at 609-403-0973. Your forecast is next.
Let's get it started.
Black Eyed Peas, live in concert. Live at Ovation Hall and Ocean Casino Resort, August 4th. Get tickets now at theoceanac.com. For more, visit blackeyedpeas.com.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zero. All week long, I've been promoting tomorrow as being the nicest day of the week. And that's still very much the case. A beautiful summer day coming right up. And tonight looks comfortable too. Skies will clear out. Low temperature dips to 66. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and dry, seasonably warm, high of 85. Enjoy it. 87 on Saturday with sun and clouds. Chance of a late day shower, partly sunny, and 88 Sunday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
New Jersey's got a lot of summer wow. We got your under the sun wows. Your this is too much fun wows. Your that wine was sublime wows. And your one more time wows. So come see what your wow's gonna be. New Jersey, it's one summer wow after another after another. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card, good for use at the Ravioli House in Wildwood for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, to seizethedeal.com.
SeizeTheDeal.com. You're listening to the Sports Net. Mike Gill.
When I'm driving, I got a guy on the radio who talks to me. It's him. He talks to me.
On 97.3 ESPN.
Josh Hennig back here on the Sports Bash, filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Thursday edition of the show. You know what time it is. It's 4:30 in the afternoon, which means it's time for Nick Earnshaw for his edition of Nick's Nuggets here on 97.3 ESPN. We'll see how many of these Nuggets we actually agree on today as Nick Earnshaw goes here live in living color. By the way, Nick will be closed tomorrow on 97.3, so I'll have him in studio instead of seeing him virtually on the screen in front of me. How you doing, man?
What's going on, Josh? Yeah, tomorrow I'll have to set you straight in person instead of over virtually on the computer. So I'm excited for that. I can't wait for 4 hours to set you right and get you on the right path, Josh.
Yeah, you say that all you want when you're at all kinds of distance away from me. You know, you're not sitting in front of me talking all proud and such. You know.
I will be tomorrow. Don't you worry. We'll have some fun tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be exciting. There's going to be so much on the table.
Klemic, our boy, tried to kill me again last night, and I proved him wrong. So.
Oh, really? You guys were working out again, huh?
Well, what happened was I don't know if you heard me earlier, but so Klemic, I meet up with Klemic. For those who don't know, Dave Klemic and I work out once a week on Wednesday nights, and you know this, Nick, because
yes.
Klemic ran into someone I went to high school with.
Okay.
Earlier in the day. And this individual kept talking about how great of an athlete I was in high school. And Klemic was like, I don't believe you. So Klemic purposely changed part of the workout to see if I could do certain things last night.
Wow, that's pretty funny. So he was like, he heard this. He's like, oh no, we're gonna ramp it up a little bit for you, Josh. You were this great athlete. You better still be this great athlete. You gotta show me something. That sounds like Clement M to a T. It sounds like something he would do.
Doesn't it sound like him?
Yes, of course it was. Gotta love Dave Klemic. He's the man. Look forward to working with him in the fall once again. It'll be a lot of fun on Saturdays. It'll be great.
All right, so what do we got for the Nuggets here?
All right, Nugget number one. I know we've been talking a lot of Eagles today, but I got to go to the Sixers. We got to talk about the Sixers. There's a report out there, Josh, about the 76ers from ORINJ, business news site in New Jersey. A report suggesting that New Jersey officials are trying to court, no pun intended, the Sixers to come to New Jersey and build their stadium here. Now, Josh, we know that the Sixers have been trying to move out of the Wells Fargo Center. They're trying to move into Center City with 76 plays. And there's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of controversy surrounding it. And, if it falls through, New Jersey is trying to say, hey, your headquarters are already in Camden. Why don't we build you an arena here? Josh, this is a big deal. If the Sixers come across the Delaware River to New Jersey, this is mind-boggling. Now, in my estimation, they have to stay in Philadelphia. We can't have a third fraudulent team in New Jersey like the Giants and Jets because they play in New Jersey and claim New York. You can't have a Philadelphia team play in New Jersey and then claim Philadelphia. That makes no sense to me. So just stay in the sports complex for goodness sake. I want them to stay there. But this is a crazy report if it actually happens because they have denied over and over again that they will never, ever come to New Jersey. And now the reports are starting to circulating, and there's stuff coming up now. I know with different votes and things of that nature for the 76ers with the proposal in Center City. There's a lot of things in progress. So if it falls through, Camden could be an opportunity. Josh, what say you?
So, first of all, I do have to give the website ROI New Jersey, which is, as you explained to me, a business news site.
Yeah.
Credit that they did have the history of the information 100% accurate. So,
yes.
For those who don't know some of this, the Sixers originally wanted to go to Penn's Landing. There's an area in Penn's Landing that would have been perfect for them to set up at. The city of Philadelphia decided to give that project to another company, basically. And that company 4 years later still has not even broken ground on this project. So then they came up with the idea of, well, we'll move to the fashion district, basically, because there's an area which is near all the transportation hubs. So people could get on buses and trains, and not everyone has to drive to the game. Makes sense. Well, they're still cutting through red tape, because the part of the problem, and I said this earlier, Nick, is that people understand the Sixers don't own the Wells Fargo Center. Mm-hmm. They are renters. The Sixers are like the New Jersey Nets. They want to have their own building so they can get their own gate, their own events, their own revenue, their own everything. It makes sense. But if the city of Philadelphia is not going to cooperate with them, well, that's not the Sixers' fault. It's not the 76ers organization's fault if the city of Philadelphia is not allowing them to proceed forward with this. This isn't the Phillies trying to build a stadium in Chinatown 20 some years ago, right? This is a pretty reasonable proposition they have, especially considering they're committing over $1 billion of their own money to the project. So as far as I'm concerned, Nick, this report is the 76ers ownership saying, look, Philadelphia, it's put up or shut up time. You either want us here or you don't. And you know what? It's kind of like what's going on to me with the Chiefs and the Royals in Kansas City. The state of Missouri keeps stopping them from building arenas. New stadiums. And so the state of Kansas already passed a resolution, already got the bonding, already got the clearance, said, come on over and build it here. To me, it's the same deal. And it's not like we're going to call them the Camden 76ers. They're going to be called the Philadelphia 76ers because they're right over the bridge. It's just, guess what? People from New Jersey, we don't have to pay that horrible toll to go to the game anymore.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. We wouldn't have to pay the toll. For me, me personally, it'd be kind of nice. It's really close to where I live. I'm a hop, skip, and a jump away from the stadium if they move over to New Jersey. So personally, I wouldn't mind. But looking at it overall, just keep all of them where they're at. I get, because they are a renter, right? They rent the Wells Fargo Center. They're a tenant. They want to move out. They want to do their own thing. They want to live their own life, Josh. That's essentially what the Sixers want to do here, because Comcast Spectacor and the Flyers ownership, they own that. They're trying to get the Sixers to stay there. They've done the $400 million renovation to the Wells Fargo Center. That's been going on over the past few years. So they're trying everything to get the Sixers to want to stay in Philadelphia. But the Sixers are kind of saying, we just want to do our own thing. And that's really what it comes down to. And this report coming out could be kind of a leverage play for the 76ers.
Oh, 100%.
It's like, all right, if you're not going to let us do our thing in Center City, and you're not going to give us what we want, we're going to go across the pond. We're going to go across the river and go across the bridge into New Jersey. Right. And how much are you going to like that? So this is a big report, because they have said multiple times that they will not move to New Jersey. So this is something to say, hey, we're actually going to think about it if you're not going to let us do what we want, because we're also self-financing. So it's not really coming from the taxpayer either. Like, the taxpayer really isn't going to have to pay for that much of this stadium, or if any at all.
Yeah. And, part of the conversation is that, you have a situation as well where the Sixers already have a facility in Camden, right? Yep. They already have the practice and business offices in Camden. So for the Harris Blitzer ownership group, it's not the craziest idea to have your arena and your practice facility in the same city. It would probably be easier logistically for them. Again, I understand what you're saying, Nick. For people like you, you're like, look, it's a sports complex. We're used to this. It's the way it's always been since before even I was born, the sports complex with the Spectrum in there and everything. But at some point, if the city of Philadelphia is going to cooperate, Sixers got to go where they're wanted. And it seems like the state of New Jersey is more interested in helping them out than the city of Philadelphia is keeping them.
Yeah, and it's something to point out from the report today that Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey has a relationship with Harrison Blitzer. So
because of his background, so for those who don't know, Murphy used to work at Goldman Sachs for a very long time. So he has a a long-standing relationship with Josh Harris.
Yep. So it's possible. I think it's more of a leverage play to get this report out, but it's very possible that this could eventually come to fruition. There's a lot of stuff that has to go on over the next couple of months. That's a story that you got to keep watching because it's gonna get tricky for the 76ers and the city of Philadelphia. Very much looking forward to see what happens there. All right. Moving on to nugget number 2. And speaking of teams moving, relocating, coming out of nowhere, Josh, we're going to talk about a WNBA team in Philadelphia. Now, this was a requested nugget by you, by the way. You wanted me to bring this up. I got a chance to sit down with Monet Davis, former Little League standout, first girl to ever throw a shutout and win in the 2014 Little League World Series against all those boys. She was fantastic. I had a great conversation with her. And she actually mentioned, in her plans now going forward, she wants to eventually one day own a WNBA team as well as bring one to the city of Philadelphia.
The Philly does need a WNBA team. I just feel like, with how the teams are doing right now, I feel like every team is doing well. And I just feel like it's the perfect market to bring a team in. You have these passionate fans. Like, yeah, we have the Phillies to cheer for right now. You need another sport that's going on right now that the fans could cheer on.
And it was a fun conversation. And she mentions a great point right there. This market, I'm surprised, Josh, that Philadelphia hasn't had a WNBA team. Like, it's crazy. We have a lacrosse team. We have all these different soccer team got here. Right. I'm shocked that Philadelphia still hasn't gotten it, especially being a top market in the country. They don't have a WNBA team. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So I'm so happy that she said that because, people might not know this, but there's a lot of WNBA players who are from this region. Okay. The tri-state region, right? And it makes no sense to me that for the WNBA to expand to some of the cities they are and not come to Philadelphia. And I'm not trying to get political here on this show, but look, if you think that Salt Lake City is a better landing spot for a WNBA team than the city of Philadelphia, you don't know social politics right now, okay? And I'm just going to leave it at that. It totally makes sense for WNBA to come here. I feel like it would be accepted in this area. It is something that people would look forward just for the Caitlin Clark running through town, every couple weeks basically, because the WNBA doesn't have enough teams for them to have a thin schedule. They're playing like the same teams like 4 or 5 times a year. So, and the New York Liberty, they're right up the road. Some of the best players are there. Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, all them. It just makes sense. As you mentioned, Nick, they got the lacrosse. We got all this other stuff. Why not? It just is a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it gives you something to do in the summer, right? Like the Phillies, like if they're on the road or something, like it's another avenue for people to go out and do something in the city of Philadelphia. And I think it would be a great idea. I'm just still shocked that a team hasn't been brought here. Like it's a big market. It would definitely work. People love basketball here. It's a no-brainer. And, she kind of mentioned it. And I hope she's a leading voice for it because I think she would be a great face to kind of bring the WNBA team here because she's so well-spoken. It was a great sit-down and a great conversation with her. And I'm so glad we were able to touch on the WNBA team in Philadelphia conversation because it's bound to happen. It will happen at some point. It's just like, what's taking so long? Like, I just can't believe it's taken this long for like even the conversation to really ramp up.
Well, I think there's 2 conflicting points here really quick. And that is one, we know the WNBA just got approved for a ton of money in the new TV rights deal. Okay. Yeah. There's an extra $200 million coming in from the rights deal that the NBA is signing with ESPN, Amazon, NBC. So they're going to get a chunk of money just for TV rights for the WNBA. So we know there's an influx of money coming in there. So it's a perfect time for expansion. The problem is the 2 cities that have already been approved for expansion is Golden State and Toronto. Now, look, I've never been to Toronto. I don't know if they even care about basketball up there. But what I do know is Golden State feels like a complete let's give who's the owner of the Warriors? I forget his name. Yeah, you've been a good soldier for the NBA, and you've been helping you build a new arena for the Golden State Warriors. So we're gonna give you a team. Like it totally feels like I scratch your back, you scratch my back situation. I have no idea why they're going to Toronto. The others, the rumors are they could maybe do Salt Lake City because Ryan Smith is like trying to expand his entire empire out there. He's got a hockey team now. He's got a basketball team. There's been rumors about them going back to Miami, even though that team basically couldn't make money at all. I mean, nobody was going to those games. I know there used to be a team in Charlotte back in the day. I mean, to me, the only city that should have a team before Philadelphia is Houston. It's an embarrassment that the Houston Comets are a multiple-time winning WNBA franchise and they don't have a team. Aside from Philadelphia, if you give it to any city, it should be Houston.
Yes, I'm with you. I just can't. It's taken this long for the conversation to really ramp up. The fact other cities are still getting it over Philadelphia makes no sense to me. It really does. So hopefully one day it'll happen. I'm sure it will at some point because there is an appetite for basketball. I mean, this is the best sports town in the country, no doubt about it. Probably in the world, honestly. If we're being real, probably in the world, one of the best in the world.
Such a homer.
I'm just saying.
I'm going to call you Homer Simpson.
I'm just saying. You can't. There's no way you could tell me it's not one of the best in the country and in the world. No doubt about it. It's at least top 5.
One of the best.
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely is. All right. But yeah, I got to sit down with Mona Davis. We chatted about that in depth about the WNBA, etc. Check that out. It's all on my socials at Earnshaw Radio if you want to listen to that interview. All right. Nugget number 3. Josh, I don't know if you saw today. The Phillies released their schedule for next year and the MLB across.
I saw it.
I'm getting tired of this. Major League Baseball needs better marketers, okay? Because how does the NFL? I know the NFL is the biggest of the big, right? And they turned the schedule release into an event and something that people look forward to. Major League Baseball needs to do a better job of then just dropping it randomly on a Thursday afternoon during the All-Star break, by the way. And no one really saw it coming for the most part. If you're a casual fan, you're not seeing this coming at all. So that's my beef. There's games I want to look at some point. We could probably dive into it a little bit tomorrow. But Major League Baseball, dropping this on a random Thursday, Josh, they got to do a better job of this. You see all these other leagues making an event about the schedule release so people can plan it out and see what's going on. And that's what they need to do in Major League Baseball. They drop it today. That's my beef. Like, why would you just randomly drop schedules on a Thursday after the All-Star game? Like, it's ridiculous.
So this makes no sense to me. Okay.
I stumped you with this one.
No, you didn't stump me. I'm just trying to be radio appropriate with my comments here.
You hit the dump button, all right?
So listen, I'm not Bo Allen, okay? I know I'm not on a podcast.
Right,
so
man, that was fun. That was a funny one in the locker room.
Yeah, that was an interesting moment. Those didn't know. Last month, Billy Schweim and I were down in Seattle for the Make the World Better Foundation, and Bo Allen came on, and Bo Allen just drops a random F-bomb in the middle of the conversation, and like even Connor Barwin like hits him in the arm. It's like, dude, what's wrong with you?
You're lucky I was on my toes back in the studio.
Well, I think we were lucky that you were in the studio, period. But
yes.
that's another story for another day as well. But so baseball is stupid. Like the fact that they made these stupid uniforms for the All-Star game. They still don't understand, they don't understand what the people want.
Right.
And I think that's my problem with baseball. They're so elitist, they're so highfalutin, we're better than you attitude that they think that dropping a schedule on Thursday, July 18th is like a good idea. No, it's a dumb idea. It's the worst idea. It's a pathetic idea. And guess what? I have no interest in talking about the schedule because of how stupid baseball is. In fact, I guarantee you that baseball would have a better running operation if they fired Rob Manfred, hired you and me, Nick, to run it, and we would do it for 1/10 of the price. We could split the salary in half.
Okay.
We would do a better job than Rob Manfred and baseball's elites because they think they're so cool and so great and so much better. I mean, they had this stupid draft going on the day of the home run derby and the All-Star game when nobody cares.
Yep. Yeah, they just need some help, man. I mean, the uniforms are bad in the All-Star game. The scheduling's bad. They started the season in the middle of the night this year. Like, I mean, I don't know what
South Korea. Yeah.
yeah. I don't get what's going on. Listen, you only got a couple more years of Rob Manfred. I have said on the Shift podcast, by the way, new episode out. If you want to check it out, we recapped the All-Star game. I have said on that podcast, I am coming for Rob Manfred's job. I will set my sights on the commissionership of Major League Baseball at some point. I want to be the commissioner because I could do a better job for sure than Rob Manfred. Anyone really could. The way he's taken Major League Baseball down this path on a random Thursday afternoon after the All-Star break. Just brutal, Josh. Schedule release. It is out if you want to check out where the Phillies are playing next year. But yeah, bad job by Major League Baseball. Once again, they can't get it right. And that's nugget number 3. Final nugget for me. A 3-pack from me today, Josh.
By the way, I believe it's the 3rd or 4th straight year the Phillies will start the season on the road.
Yeah. No, they started home this year, remember?
Oh, that's right, because there was the rain delayed game.
They will be playing the Nationals this year.
It was
on the
Texas the year before.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Then the year before that, they were also on the road too. So
yes.
So it's 3 of the last 4 years they started the year on the road.
Yep. Enough of that too. Got to stop starting on the road. Get them at Citizens Bank Park. Started at CBP.
I mean, I would almost say that baseball should start every season in like a hub city, so we don't have to have like rain delays and weather problems.
Yeah, why not? Just not at 3 a.m. All right.
Yeah, not 3 a.m. But maybe have like a triple header.
Yeah, something.
And everyone plays at either the Texas field or the Houston field, and then another couple of games happy another Arizona or something. Make it like an event.
Make it a big deal. It's a big deal. Opening day is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's big deal. Big deal. All right, Josh. That's what I got for you today.
All right, Nick Earnshaw will be with me tomorrow for the full 4 hours here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. And go check out his full conversation with Monet Davis over on his, you can catch it on his social media platforms, and Earnshaw Radio is where you catch the link to that. So appreciate Nick sharing that with us here on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, still to come, we'll be talking boxing's return to Atlantic City with Larry Goldberg from Boxing Insider Promotions coming up in the next hour with the return of undefeated junior middleweight Justin Figueroa back to fighting at Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City next Friday, July 26th. And, of course, you can make a day of it with 97.3 ESPN because Mike Gill and Sports Bash will be live for their Happy Hour Friday tour next Friday at Giuliano's in Egg Harbor Township from 2 to 6 p.m. And then you can come over to Atlantic City and watch the fights with me at Tropicana's Showroom in Atlantic City for all the great action next Friday. It's a big day for us at 97.3 ESPN. We hope you join us for all of the festivities. 5 o'clock hour next on 97.3 ESPN.
South Jersey business owners, when Eagles football returns to the airwaves this season, don't miss out. Make sure your business is a part of the Philadelphia Eagles season with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick on 97.3 ESPN. Touchdown! Every week, the NFL's most passionate fan base flocks to 97.3 ESPN Radio to listen to their favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Advertising with the Eagles can help your business connect with the consumers you are trying to reach. 97.3 ESPN is the most listened to sports source in all of South Jersey. That's what makes 97.3 ESPN such a powerful station for your business's message. So this Eagles season, don't have your business sitting on the sidelines. Be a part of the Philadelphia Eagles season on 97.3 ESPN. To find out how to become a part of the 2024 Eagles season, go to townsquaresouthjersey.com to request more information.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And all it takes is a few clicks. We make buying metal online easy so you can spend less time shopping and more time getting things done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Place an order online today at metalsupermarkets.com.
Again, sent beat story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain scent beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain scent beads. Try Gain scent beads. Way fresher than detergent alone.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TURN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TURN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TURN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
As part of summer's greatest hits, it's the first ever Macy's All-Star Week. Join us for an incredible lineup of live events in store every day, like fashion shows, beauty demos, and more fun for the family. Now through Tuesday, July 23rd. Plus, shop our best summer deals, like 50% off swim, sandals, and more. And exclusives just for Star Rewards members. You don't want to miss this. Go to Macys.com/events to see what's at your local store. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
There he is. It's Agent 00 Chicken. Every move he makes, every chance he takes is to get to Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. And nothing will stop him from getting there. Because he knows that right now, he can get a 3-piece world-famous chicken box, white or dark meat, or chicken tenders for just $8, with a portion of each chicken box sale donated to a local charity. Plus, he can register to win world-famous chicken for a year. That's 3 pieces of hot, juicy, moist, and tender Royal Farms world-famous chicken for just $8. Come to Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. It's a real thriller, but it's only for a limited time. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms. No purchase necessary to enter or win. And September 2nd, 2024. Chicken for a year prize to be awarded as 8 $100 Royal Farms gift cards. For details and official rules, visit royalfarms.com/chicken-palooza. Void where prohibited. Sponsored by Royal Farms.
Total Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We now have unlimited data that never slows you down. Covered by the Verizon 5G network. And for less than $30 a month, we make your phone your ride or die. Switch now and pick a free 5G phone with qualified plan purchase. And your 4th line at no additional cost. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And when you join My Lowe's Rewards for free, the savings just keep coming. Save money with member-only offers, plus earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards, just for you. Because Lowe's knows you earned it, literally. Learn more about our loyalty program at Lowes.com/MyLowe'sRewards and become a member for free today. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowes.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
Your luxury BMW experience is closer than you think. Take advantage of exceptional savings at BMW of Atlantic City. Stop in and shop your favorite models, including the new BMW 2 Series, X3, and more. We're sure to have a vehicle that fits your needs. And with Acceleride, purchase your vehicle and we'll deliver it directly to you. Looking to trade? We'll pay top dollar for your current vehicle. Experience luxury today at BMW of Atlantic City, closer than you think, in Egg Harbor Township. Shop our complete inventory online at bmwatlanticcity.com.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They got him again!
Sixers.
Bang! It's good! Ball game!
And Flyers. Tipped in front of the net! 97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget the Sports Bash being brought to you by Broadleaf Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Maybe you don't need your heating taken care of with in the middle of the summer, but there's been some power outages recently due to some of the storms passing through the area. You might need a system checkup. To call these right now at 609-390-3907 or visit them online at broadleaf.net for more information. 609-403-0973 is the text board. I will get back to that in a moment because we'll be talking throughout the show. We did some Eagles, some Phillies talk. Also, this news of the Sixers potentially leaving the city of Philadelphia and moving to Camden. Yeah, that's something like that. It's very interesting because we've hit on a lot of topics throughout the show today. And I did want to get back to this Sixers conversation because could maybe them moving out of the city be a fresh start for them in terms of the culture of that team? And here's why I asked that question. When you think about Philadelphia 76ers, this team has not gotten out of the second round since Allen Iverson back in 2001. This organization has year in and year out let you, the fans, down. Now, we can debate for hours whose fault that is, right? You can say, well, the ownership hasn't hired the right general managers. You could blame the GMs and say Brian Colangelo was the worst GM of all time, and he derailed what could have been a good thing, and it took you multiple executives later to start fixing the problems. You could have that conversation. Or you could turn this around and say, hey, Joel Embiid is supposed to be the star player of this team. He should, he could, he would be able to elevate this organization, but he can't. And I look at the Sixers, whether it's fair or not, in the light of who the Eagles and the Phillies are right now. Because, one of my experiences, and maybe it's a bad habit, but it was cultivated in me at a young age. When the other teams in the city are doing well, you compare them, whether consciously or subconsciously, to the teams that are not doing well. So when I look at the Sixers and their issues, right, I think back to what is going on with the Eagles and the Phillies. It genuinely felt like back in 2004 when the Phillies moved out of the vet to Citizens Bank Park, that it was like they were given a new lease on life. Jim Thome was in town, hitting homers. And it felt like there was that moment on, the team kind of started moving in a different direction as an organizational philosophy. Now, that only lasted till about 2012, and then we had the dark days, the dark ages of Phillies baseball at the bank until about 2019 when Bryce Harper came. But there was still an environment that people said, we want to get back to that. We know what we can be. And so they brought in Dave Dombrowski a couple of years ago. And right now, the Phillies look like a team that is all in to win. And you look at the Eagles, right? The Eagles, ever since Andy Reid came to Philadelphia, changed how this organization views themselves and how the fans view them. You know, one of the conversation points I had with Connor Barwin last month about the Eagles was he said, he said he loved the city of Philadelphia because he feels like the city of Philadelphia holds the Eagles accountable and they feel like they have to win in order to, for lack of a better term, keep up with the demands of the fan base. So there seems to be one set of attitudes for two franchises and another for the other. Now, Jeffrey Lurie, he's not a local guy, and I don't think that him not being a local guy is going to factor in at all to how you look at the Eagles, because the owner always wants to win. So I don't look at Josh Harris not being a local guy as the problem here. I think the ultimate problem for the Sixers is that they have pushed buttons and those buttons have not worked out. It feels like the Eagles and the Eagles and the Phillies are much better than the Sixers at having the awareness to say, we know what needs to be done and let's go out and do it. Howie Roseman seems to every year find a way to get better, find a way to fix a problem, or find a way to say, I know that this position, this coach, this situation, the owner of the Eagles says, I know I can't hire this guy, but I can hire this guy. Outside of Chip Kelly, Jeffrey Lurie has done a great job of hiring the right head coach, right? You look at the Phillies. The Phillies seem to always say, this isn't working, we're moving on. They gave Matt Klentak and Andy McPhail numerous opportunities to figure it out. And they said, you know what? This isn't working. Let's go out and get another baseball guy, like we did with Pat Gillick years ago. And they brought in Dave Dombrowski. I think the Sixers' great flaw, their great shortcoming, their great problem is the fact that at the end of the day, the 76ers have just made mistakes. They could have gone right, but they went left and they hit a dead end, or they ran into a log jam, or they ran into a problem, or their car was running down the road and it hit a spike and it flattened their tire, right? So is there maybe a larger psychological element in play if the Sixers left Philadelphia and came and opened an arena in Camden? If the city of Philadelphia has such a little interest in supporting and building up and being a part of cultivating one of the staples of Philadelphia sports, the 76ers, then why shouldn't the Sixers go somewhere else for their own arena? Again, I'm trying to look at it from the owner's perspective. I'm trying to take my personal fandom out of this. And I look at it as, look, Camden in the state of New Jersey is much more welcoming to this idea than Philadelphia is. Philadelphia has fought them tooth and nail all along. And as I said, you have to factor in the history of this conversation as well, because there is the section of Penn's Landing that the Sixers really, really wanted. The original spot that they wanted was on the waterfront, okay? They wanted that area of development that the city gave to somebody else who wasn't even, it's a company out of New York, for goodness sake. They leased it over to them. And I'm not saying that that would have been a better area than necessarily anywhere else, but it seemed like a logical idea to say, look, we're going to put a team in an area that's still close to a bridge, Ben Franklin versus Walt Whitman. It's going to be a spot that's easy for people to get to, and it would help revitalize a part of the town that, frankly, has been ignored at times. And the city said, nah, we're going to give this property to somebody else. So then the Sixers were basically forced to go find another section of town. So they said, well, if we move into the fashion district with our new arena, it'll be close to the transportation hubs and we can build a parking garage. And the city of Philadelphia is disinterested in allowing them to do that as well. So it makes sense for this news story to come out as it did earlier today, for the Sixers to say, you know what? If you don't want us here, we'll leave. We'll just go somewhere else. And I think for Philadelphia 76er fans, I understand that there is a level of nostalgia, as Nick Earnshaw mentioned in the last hour during his segment here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. I understand that there is a nostalgia with the sports complex. There's a history of all the teams being in one spot. You know, Philadelphia is one of the few cities left in America that has all the teams within an area of each other. You can't go to every place in America and say all the teams are near each other. There's an actual sports complex. You don't have that in the Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Irvine area. I mean, that thing is an absolute mess down there in the Dallas Metroplex. You don't have this down in Miami where, you know, the Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers don't even play in the same zip code, basically. It's ridiculous. You don't have this in Tampa where the Rays play in Petersburg and the Bucks actually play in real Tampa, right? Atlanta, that situation is a fiasco, right? Where the baseball stadium is versus where the football stadium versus where the basketball arena is. They're not all in the same spot. So Philadelphia, there is a sense of like, hey, we're together. All the teams are together. And there's a nostalgia that goes with that because it's always been that way for the length of the majority of you listening on 97.3 ESPN have been alive. Whether you're listening on 97.3 ESPN FM or 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City, almost all of you don't remember a time when there wasn't a sports complex, because for so many years it was the Vet and the Spectrum, and then later it was the Center and the Vet, and then after that it became Citizens Bank Park, Lincoln Financial Field, and the Center. In some iteration or another, for 50 years, basically almost 60 years, you have had a sports complex, right? So I totally understand that for a lot of people out there, the idea of the Sixers leaving doesn't compute. But for the 76ers, they have a vision. And their vision is, we want to have our own arena so we can create another revenue stream. Because if they have their own arena, they can have concerts, they can have events, they can have money generated from the ticket sales, from the concessions. They don't have to pay rent to somebody else. So for the owners of the Sixers, they say, I see what the Nets did with Barclays Center. The Barclays Center has been way more profitable than the Brooklyn Nets have. The Brooklyn Nets have been sparingly interesting and profitable since they moved the Barclays Center. But the Barclay itself has been very profitable for the organization up there because they have had numerous events, concerts, basketball tournaments, etc. The Sixers want to do the same thing. And frankly, if your practice facility and your offices are already in Camden, why not put the arena there too? Just some thoughts on the matter. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. Jeff from Ocean City chimes in at 609-403-0973, says, I'd much rather go to Camden over Chinatown. I still don't believe it makes sense for the Flyers Sixers to have two separate buildings, but that's just me, Jeff from Ocean City. Jeff, I understand what you're saying, but it's, again, you are like most of us. You grew up in a world where the Sixers and the Flyers were always in the same building. And in most areas of the country, that is the case. You know, you go to Boston, the Bruins and the Celtics play in the same building. You go to a city like Chicago, the Bulls and the Blackhawks play in the same building. You go to a place like Dallas, where the Mavs and the Stars play in the same building. So I get it. There is a historical familiarity with that setup. But for the 76ers, they don't like renting from the Flyers. They don't like the fact that they're not co-owners of the arena. They are having to rent from somebody else. In some of these other cities, these teams are co-operators of the arena. The Flyers want the Sixers to stay because they're getting rent money. That's why. Also on the text board at 609-403-0973, anonymous texter says, Josh, they're trying to bully the Sixers in the building in Chinatown and displace many people over there. And I think the Sixers are aware of that. I think, texter, the Sixers are aware that the city wants them to set up in Chinatown and, you know, use it as a reason to, I'm trying to say this delicately because I'm not trying to get into a political discussion here, but there has historically always been an attitude by elitist schmucks, I'll call them, where they don't appreciate the history and the culture of a community. So they look at Chinatown in Philadelphia, or they look at Harlem in New York, or people look at the old Baltimore Bay District down in Baltimore, or they look at any of these older communities as like blights on the city and as like, you know, oh, those ugly old buildings. I don't want that anymore. Let's build something new and better and fresh. And they don't appreciate the history and the culture of the town. And so all they focus on is money, 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 money. And so to them, yes, they do want to shove the Sixers in the Chinatown. And the Sixers are saying, no, we don't want to do that. We know what you're trying to do. You're trying to crater us. And I think that for the Sixers, they also understand that they build a new arena, new performances will come. You know, I see the question on the text board saying, why would someone like Adele, the Globetrotters, go to Camden over Philadelphia? And it's very simple. It's the Philadelphia arena will be older and the Camden arena will be newer. And for a lot of promoters and a lot of the optics, you know, a tour like Adele, let's say, if she wants to film a documentary like Taylor Swift did, the newer arena will be better optically for that filming of a performance to put on a Netflix or put on a streaming platform than the Wells Fargo Center. That's how you have to think about it. These performers look at the newer arena and say, better sight lines, better lighting, better atmospherics for my presentation. Like there are literally comedy shows that are blacked out so they can film it at a newer arena so they can put it on a streaming platform. And you know where they're doing it? They're not doing it at Madison Square Garden. They're doing it at the Barclays Center. And this happens all over the country. A lot of these performers prefer to go to the newer arenas with the better sound systems, with the better lighting, with the upgraded setups, than go to the older arenas. That's why so many of these older arenas are struggling across the country, and they're tearing them down and building up new ones because they're realizing the big names would rather go to the fancy schmancy place than go to the historically traditional place. Atlantic City goes through the same thing. There are people who will look at an Ocean Casino Resort's Ovation Hall and how amazing the setup is in Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City and say, you know what? Me as a promoter, me as an event person putting on a concert, a show, whatever, they may look at the pristine facilities at Ocean Casino Resort and Ovation Hall and say, I'd rather put my showcase, my event, my concert there than historic Boardwalk Hall. It's not Boardwalk Hall is bad. It's not that it's a horrible facility, but it's that there is an optics that goes with the newer properties. So again, I'm trying to understand it from the perspective of not being selfish. Josh Hennig here, filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Speaking of Atlantic City, coming up next, boxing returns to Atlantic City next Friday night, and we'll talk with Larry Goldberg, the promoter from Tropicana. Atlantic City is going to have Boxing Insider Promotions back for another event next Friday. I'll be there, and Larry and I will talk about it next here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Thursday afternoon.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card, good for use at the Ravioli House in Wildwood for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
Seizethedeal.com. Sometimes your phone breaks.
Ugh. Dude. What the?
Oh, seriously? Hey, life happens. But at Verizon, we got you. Trade in any phone from our top brands in any condition and get a great deal on iPhone 15 with an unlimited ultimate plan. And turn...
No!
Into... Oh, yeah! Only on Verizon.
This is it. Shop the Lowe's Closeout event to get up to 70% off select major appliances for your home. Plus, get up to 60% off select patio furniture and accessories for your outdoor spaces. So hurry into your local store today because these deals are too good to last. Shop them now before they're gone because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/7 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Febreze. Fabric Talk. Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week. Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleans are nice, but in between, you know I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh yeah, spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La 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 la.
Any trade, any trade, any trade. Bring any trade to Matt Platt Nissan. And AJ the Trade Man will give you more for your trade so you can drive away with peace of mind with Matt Platt Nissan's exclusive 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Platt Nissan.
So cash in your vehicle now before it's too late and drive home in a new Nissan today. It's on at Matt Platt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Powered by the all-new BetParks New Jersey Casino and Sportsbook app. BetParks.com. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Could the Sixers really be coming to New Jersey? I'm Nick Earnshaw with your South Jersey Sports Center and with your 97.3 ESPN question of the day. A new report from ROI-NJ News suggests that the state of New Jersey is making a push to convince Sixers ownership to move the franchise across the Delaware River and build a new stadium in Camden. With that being said, our 97.3 ESPN question of the day is, would you want to see the 76ers move to New Jersey? Let us know by texting 609-403-0973 or use the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Absolutely not. I think the 76ers should stay in South Philly, where the sports complex is, where all of the rest of the teams are. Don't move out of there. It's an easy spot to get to and very accessible. Once again, text in at 609-403-0973. Your forecast is next.
Here is an important safety message from the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety.
I'm Attorney General Matt Blacken.
I'm PBA President Peter Andreev.
A few minutes saved by speeding can cost lives. Don't be the reason someone doesn't make it home.
Drive at safe speeds and ensure everyone gets home safely.
Together, we can make New Jersey safer.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. All week long, I've been promoting tomorrow as being the nicest day of the week. And that's still very much the case. A beautiful summer day coming right up. And tonight looks comfortable too. Skies will clear out. Low temperature dips to 66. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and dry, seasonably warm, high of 85. Enjoy it. 87 on Saturday with sun and clouds. Chance of a late day shower. Partly sunny and 88 Sunday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Don't miss Borgata's $1.5 million Summer Showdown. Now through August 31st, 1,500 winners will earn a share of $1.5 million. Plus, 2 lucky players will win a 2024 Ford Bronco or Jeep Rubicon. Earn entries for drawings held every Saturday, including 2 grand prize drawings on July 27th and August 31st. The $1.5 million Summer Showdown, only at Borgata Hotel, Casino, and Spa. Must be 21 or older. Players must be present to win. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We have the perfect solution. ESPN free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. As I told you earlier in the show, the boxing event of the summer is next Friday night. Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Boxer Insider Promotions returns with another jam-packed card. Undefeated Atlantic City fighter Justin Figueroa is back in action along with top-ranked heavyweight Otto Wallen and Apsagamia High School's own Bruce Selden Jr. Yes, they're all in action and more. To get into all of that and why you need to go to Ticketmaster.com to get your tickets now, Larry Goldberg joins me here on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN. Larry, welcome back. Glad to have you back on the show. How you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
So let's get into this because, I think one of the points of conversation about an event like you're doing this summer is to remind people this is your second event of the year in Atlantic City. And as someone who was a successful promoter in New York, now you got not one, but 2 events in Atlantic City. So this is old hat for you, putting on multiple events in the same town.
I mean, it was a really cool opportunity. Atlantic City is an interesting market, shall we say. The Tropicana and the State Athletic Commission have been wonderful to work with, and we did the first show. I mean, it was very last minute, that first show that we did, so there were some things that we did wrong that we corrected on this show. This show is, like I said, we've got Otto Wallen, who's the top 15th ranked heavyweight in the world. This is his bounce back fight. And so, this is a combination of local fighters, some top prospects, and I guess it's going to be a fun night of boxing.
Yeah, and of course, it's in Atlantic City again, the Tropicana Showroom. You mentioned Otto Wallen. For those who might not know, they're like, okay, heavyweight. They kind of have an idea, but
right, let me tell you who Otto is. Otto fought Tyson Fury I'm looking at it back in 2019. He cut him. He was like so close. If they would have stopped that fight in other states. And Otto should have been the champion then. I know Otto Wallen from Mendez Boxing Gym in New York City. And he's a great guy. He just fought Anthony Joshua, who is regarded as one of the top heavyweights in the world. He lost to Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia a couple months ago, and in December. And this is his bounce back fight. And it's kind of exciting to get to work with someone of Otto's caliber, because usually we're working with guys starting off, stuff of that nature. And Otto has fought for the heavyweight title before, and he will fight for the heavyweight title again.
Yeah, 26-2, not a cheap 26-2 either, right, Larry?
Oh, he's trained, and by the way, he is trained by the legendary Joey Gamache. Otto is for real. Otto is from Sweden. Without giving the details out right now, this fight will be airing internationally in Sweden on 2 different platforms. And because he's on the card, this event will also be, it will be aired also on an international platform.
Obviously, one of the big draws for people in our area, Larry, is Justin Figueroa fighting again in Atlantic
City.
Yes. So tell the folks about what you are looking forward to about Justin getting back in the ring next Friday night.
Justin is the superstar that Atlantic City needs at this time. With all the negativity out there, Justin is a positive force both in Atlantic City and in boxing. He's a good kid. He's somebody that the kids can look up to. He came up the right way, and we're looking for Justin to come out here, put on a show, and entertain the hometown fans.
When you think about Justin, if he wins, and we expect him to win, obviously, next Friday night in Atlantic City, his hometown, he would be 10-0. When you think about a guy getting to that double-digit undefeated number, talk to folks out there, Larry, as a boxing guy that you are, what does that mean, big picture?
I mean, it means that he, every time he fights, he's going to have to fight tougher and tougher competition. It means that, at some point he's on the trajectory where he's going to get that phone call and from one of the big promoters, and they're going to say, hey, do you want to fight such and such? And he's going to have a title opportunity. He's going to be on international television himself. He is the first, homegrown fighter, I think, in many years. I mean, there's been others, don't get me wrong, but I mean, he has the potential, like I said, to break through.
Yeah, not this pedigree. There's been other local fighters, but not of what his potential is, right, Larry? It's the idea of.
But his potential is more than just a boxer. I mean, this is somebody who could be. I mean, he could, he could be a politician. He could, he could do anything he wants to do in life. And he's not just a boxer, but he is a boxer. He's a very good boxer, and he's a local boxer who's a product of the Atlantic City Police Athletic League. He's a product of the Atlantic City Beach Patrol. He's a product of Holy Spirit High School. I mean, when you think about our local community, Justin is the poster boy of everything that's good that can come out of South Jersey.
Talk with Larry Goldberg. Of course, he is the promoter for Boxing Insider Promotions. Next Friday night, Justin Figueroa, Otto Wallen, and more on tap for the action-packed card, the boxing event of the summer inside Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Tickets on sale right now at Ticketmaster.com. A couple other fighters I want to ask you about, Larry, who are going to be on this card. First, I want to start with Bruce Seldon coming off winning his pro debut. You got him on this card. Just talk about this.
Let's talk about Bruce Seldon.
Yes.
All right. You ever want to look at the comic book hero? Like, this is a guy, I mean, he looks the part. This guy is jacked. He's got a knockout punch. So you just have to enjoy the show of Bruce Seldon Jr. And this guy, for the next couple of years, he's going to be a human wrecking crew. And, his management team is going to build him into a force. Now, is Bruce Seldon going to be, is he going to get to the WBA heavyweight champion like his father? Hey, I mean, this is going to be a story for us to watch over the next couple of years. But I can tell you that his second fight, and we've already spoken to his management about his third fight, Bruce Seldon is someone to look for. And like I said, you have another local story to watch because, again, of who his father was and who his brother is and who he is.
A couple other fighters on the card. Talk to us about Jason Castanon?
So Jason Cassidy and Arvante Dukes is fighting in what I like to call a club fight. These were the kind of fights that I was making in New York City. In New York City, what we were doing is we were in this tiny little room, and we just like having two local guys that are just getting started off and 4-rounders, and they're just banging. And this is literally, you got a 1-0 and a 2-0 guy, both from different gyms in New York, and this is like a real war. Like, this is a real slugfest, old school war that, like I said, if I could just put, 6 or 7 fights like this on a card, I would be just very happy.
Speaking of up and coming, national amateur champion Marco Romero from Kansas City. Talk about him, Larry.
Marco Romero was just voted USA Boxing's number one. They voted him the number one fighter in the entire tournament, and he was the number one 165-pound fighter on the National Golden Gloves. He just went pro in June. This is his second fight. Marco Romero is a situation, like in the old days, if you would have gotten to see Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao in their first couple fights, that's what Marco Romero is. He is the real deal. He will be at we're not HBO anymore, but he will be a PBC or a Top Rank, or he'll be on one of those platforms very soon. And like I said, this is an opportunity just to see like a real blue chip prospect.
Another fight that I'm personally looking forward to, selfishly, this fight is Jacob Solis fight again, because I think this guy is just phenomenal to watch.
Jacob is I met Jacob in New York. He went pro on our show in December. He is he's a boxing trainer at Work Train Fight and a Breadwinners boxing gym at Josh Popper. Josh Popper from Holy Spirit is also his trainer. Jacob came on our show. He got a knockout. He came back to our show. He had 2 fights in between. Then he came back on our show here in Atlantic City in May. He had a knockout. And now he's fighting this guy, James Abraham. And it's another local New York fight. And the two guys are just bickering back and forth online. It's actually kind of funny. Jacob is an all-action fighter. He's got knockout power. And, he's also, like I said, he's a very popular coach in New York City.
And of course, we can't forget, at your last fight, you had the great Larry Holmes on site for, to meet people, photos, and all that kind of stuff. And this time you have another boxing legend.
The Irish Mickey Ward. I mean, everybody I talk to about Atlantic City boxing, it's like, it seems that everybody, they talk about 2 things. They talk about the Tyson Spinks, and they talk about Gotti Ward. So it made sense in the summertime to, bring in, Mickey Ward. And it was that was sort of how Marco Romero was offered to us, because we had made a deal with Mickey Ward, and it was all sort of through the same management company. So he'll be there signing autographs, and he'll be selling, taking pictures, and he's got his own line of clothing that he's going to be selling to the fans.
That's very cool. Larry, before we wrap this up, I did want to ask you just kind of big picture, because as I said, this is your second time at Tropicana showroom in Atlantic City. You brought the first boxing fights back to Atlantic City in Tropicana in 7 years. For you, what has all of this been like, big picture for you, being a guy from South Jersey?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, I'm too close to the situation right now to really give you that answer. But I remember being a kid going to the fights there, and, here we are years later, we're doing the fights there, and, and we're doing them. Like I said, there's a paint by numbers way that I always felt boxing should be done. Part of it's going through, dealing with places like the PAL, part of it's dealing with local fighters like we're dealing with. And like I said, and our hook was, through the New York fighters. So like I said, it was a great experience. And like I said, I'm looking forward to doing more of them, because like I said, I've been told I'm the first promoter to ever go to Atlantic City High School to promote events in Atlantic City. So it's just been a lot of fun. And, if the community comes out and supports these, we could do a lot more of these type of shows. There's a lot of local talent that, has been contacting us to get on these cards. It's difficult to match some of these guys, because, it's boxing.
Larry, I appreciate you jumping on today. Again, don't forget to tell folks real quick, Ticketmaster.com. Tickets are on sale right now. Next Friday, July 26th.
Yes, and they can meet the world famous Josh Hennig. You're going to be doing a live feed there.
Yes, we will be doing the show live on location for game night, and then we'll be there to watch the fights. People can come out and watch the fights with 97.3 ESPN.
And we're gonna have some of the fighters, on the that are at the event are gonna try to come on the show. Jarrell Big Baby Miller is gonna come to the event. He'll be around signing autographs, and like I said, this will be a fun event. And like I said, I'm hoping that the community will come out and support bringing local boxing back to Atlantic City.
Larry, appreciate you jumping on and take some time out of your day. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you so much.
Again, don't forget, it is the boxing event of the summer next Friday night, Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. I'll be there. You can come out and watch the fights with 97.3 ESPN, Justin Figueroa, Bruce Selden Jr., Otto Wallen. An incredibly stacked card of just action will be on hand next Friday night inside Tropicana Showroom in Atlantic City. Tickets on sale right now at Ticketmaster.com. So don't want to miss out on that. I'm glad Larry made some time to jump on the show. We'll try to get Justin Figueroa on one more time before he fights next week. Talk about his preparations for this fight. We'll get back to text board on the other side, 609-403-0973, and your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Thursday edition of the Sports Bash.
We have the Phillies covered.
Swing and a high fly ball, well struck left field towards the corner. That's got a chance, and that is gone. Home run, JT Real Muto.
Get the best Phillies baseball coverage on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN.
New Jersey's got a lot of summer wow, from sun and wows to fun and wows, and every wow in between. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
There he is. It's Agent 00 Chicken. Every move he makes, every chance he takes is to get to Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. And nothing will stop him from getting there. Because he knows that right now, he can get a 3-piece world-famous chicken box, white or dark meat, or chicken tenders for just $8, with a portion of each chicken box sale donated to a local charity. Plus, he can register to win world-famous chicken for a year. That's 3 pieces of hot, juicy, moist, and tender Royal Farms world-famous chicken for just $8. Come to Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. It's a real thriller, but it's only for a limited time. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms. No purchase necessary to enter or win. And September 2nd, 2024. Chicken for a year prize to be awarded as 8 $100 Royal Farms gift cards. For details and official rules, visit royalfarms.com/chicken-palooza. Void where prohibited. Sponsored by Royal Farms.
Hi, I'm Cesar Milan. People are always commenting on how healthy my dogs are. One of the reasons is the food my dogs eat.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a premium freeze-dried raw dog food designed to support your dog's health, happiness, and lifespan. Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of cod Krispies. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 5115.
Back with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism
energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code SUPPORT, or text SUPPORT to 511-511 and claim 40% off. roundhouseprovisions.com, code SUPPORT.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Your luxury BMW experience is closer than you think. Take advantage of exceptional savings at BMW of Atlantic City. Stop in and shop your favorite models, including the new BMW 2 Series, X3, and more. We're sure to have a vehicle that fits your needs. And with Acceleride, purchase your vehicle online and we'll deliver it directly to you. Looking to trade? We'll pay top dollar for your current vehicle. Experience luxury today at BMW of Atlantic City, closer than you think, in Egg Harbor Township. Shop our complete inventory online at BMWAtlanticCity.com.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 93 ESPN free mobile.
All right, wrapping up the show here, final segment of the Sports Bash on 973 ESPN. Typically on the Big Three, we get to a group of topics or notes that I have throughout the day or the evening before. So I figured I would use the final segment of the show to kind of hit on those topics, and you guys can comment here on 97.3 ESPN. I do want to start with the news that came out late last night. I haven't really had a chance to talk about it, but Pat Williams passed away last night. Pat Williams, a massive figure in the world of basketball. Obviously, for those who don't know, he was originally in this area working in the Sixers organization, and then he went down to Orlando and was one of the people who started the Orlando Magic franchise. So, Pat Williams, a basketball career, to say the least, right? And he passed away last night at the age of 84. And you're not going to see, you are not going to see people like Pat Williams come along again. Because Pat Williams was a guy who was just a uniquely good human being who worked his way into the career that he had, because he started as the business manager of the 76ers in the city that he was born and grew up in. So he was part of a Sixers organization and worked his way up the ladder. He basically became a staple of the Sixers organization and was their general manager for 12 years. He helped build the team that won the NBA championship in 1983. He was the one who brought in Dr. J. He's the one who brought in Moses Malone. He drafted Mo Cheeks. And he drafted Charles Barkley. So he had a phenomenal record as a basketball man. And then he decides, hey, I am going to help bring the NBA to Orlando. And then when he was in Orlando, he drafted Shaquille O'Neal, and he traded for the deal that got them Penny Hardaway, right? And he built another team that went to the NBA Finals. And you look at his career, he had a phenomenal run of success in basketball. And I don't know if you're ever going to see a guy like him be a homegrown guy and then get to be the general manager of his home team ever again. And then say, hey, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be the guy who brings in a brand new franchise and it's never had basketball before. And by the way, I am going to basically nail almost every single draft pick I am given at the top of the draft. So, thoughts to Pat Williams' family, but what an amazing life, an amazing career, and an amazing level of success. Other news that came out, this Russell Westbrook story to me is fascinating. So for those who didn't hear this, Russell Westbrook is joining the Denver Nuggets after he was traded to the Jazz. So the Clippers have been trying to unload Russell Westbrook in his bloated contract for a while. They really don't have a use for him at this point anymore. So the Clippers are trading Russell Westbrook to the Utah Jazz. The Clippers will get Chris Dunn back from the Jazz along with a second-round pick and cash. Then the Jazz are immediately waiving Russell Westbrook. Okay? So they can get his money off of their books too. According to Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, he is going to sign with the Nuggets. And this is interesting because remember the Nuggets lost both Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Reggie Jackson in free agency. So they definitely need a offensive guy coming off the bench to be a part of that team trying to make another deep postseason run. And Westbrook, he opted into his $4 million option last month with the idea that he thought he could maybe, create an extension with the Clippers. But when the Clippers basically bailed on the Paul George deal, it kind of left the door open for, well, how does Russell Westbrook fit into the future plans? Because we already have James Harden. We have Kawhi. We're trying to develop some of the younger players on this team. How does an older Westbrook fit in? Now he gets to go to a team in Denver that definitely needs a backup point guard / energizer weapon on the basketball court. And I think that's basically what Russell Westbrook is at this point. He's no longer an MVP caliber player, but he is a guy that can go out there and have a major impact on a basketball game. And listen, if he accepts that bench style role, maybe he can be a 6th man of the year type player for the Nuggets with the style of basketball that they play. And then the other story I want to hit on really quick before we get out of here. So I can't believe this is even happening. Bobby Petrino is back in Arkansas. So for those who don't remember, Bobby Petrino was the longtime football coach at Louisville. He left Louisville for the NFL. He got a job with the Atlanta Falcons. He basically bailed on the Falcons job and he got run out of town to take a job coaching at Arkansas. While at Arkansas, though, he got run out of Arkansas because of a scandal he had with a young woman down there in Razorback country. I'm trying to say this as delicately as because it was more than just an affair. It was a fiasco. So he got run out of Arkansas. Then he goes back to Louisville, tries to revive that football program. This past year, he got hired at Texas A&M to be their offensive coordinator. Then Jimbo Fisher gets fired, and now the current head coach of Arkansas, Sam Pittman, he is bringing Bobby Petrino to now help an Arkansas offense that struggled last year, because in Pittman's mind, he is saying, in order for us to get better, I had to hire the best person possible. And you think it's Bobby Petrino. Now, we know Bobby Petrino is a great offensive mind in college football. The man is incredible, but holy Toledo, Batman. I mean, I can't believe the Arkansas, the people who run the college even let him come back. I mean, Bobby Petrino left there in such incredible disgrace. It was an absolute disaster. But he's back. College football's nuts. All right, I'm Josh Hennig. Thank you for everybody for listening today. The Best of the Sports Bash is next on 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. The Sports Bash is celebrating 15 years on 97.3 ESPN, and we want to celebrate it with you. Come out and party on Happy Hour Friday, July 26th from 2 to 6 p.m. at Giuliano's Pub and Grill, 2264 Ocean Heights Avenue in EHT. Happy Hour Friday Sports Bash specials feature $3.50 Bud Light Draft and $4 neutral vodka seltzers during the show. Come out, enjoy a cold one, and enter to win tickets to see Green Day and Smashing Pumpkins at Citizens Bank Park, celebrating 15 years of the Sports Bash with me, Mike Gill, on 97.3 ESPN. And don't forget, we'll be out on Select Fridays all summer long to celebrate 15 years of the Sports Bash. So come on out, say hello, tell us when you started listening to the show, come out and have a cold one, and don't forget, enter to win those great Green Day Smashing Pumpkin tickets. Our first Happy Hour Friday event will be at Giuliano's next Friday, July 26th.